heroes. It's an old-fashioned notion.
A visionary, a genius, ensuring freedom around the globe.
A symbol to the nation, a hero to the world.
A beacon of hope, shining out across the stars.
I look around at us, you know what I see?
A bunch of a-holes.
Possibility. You think you know how the world works?
The world is changing.
We need heroes.
Wakanda forever!
Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. Conflict breeds catastrophe. The thing isn't beautiful because it lasts.
We're in the endgame now.
Before we're done, we still have one promise to keep. If you can't protect the Earth, you can be damn sure we'll avenge it. Whatever it takes.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You are here for a very special episode of the Heroes of Noise. I am only 1/3 of today's group. My name is D.
Happy Avengers weekend. I have so much to say, so many feelings I'm feeling right now. I'm so ready to talk about this. This is episode 66, I believe, Steve, right? That we're on. We're dedicating it to the one and only Avengers Endgame. I can't stand it, guys. I think we should just get into this right away. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say we have a very special guest. Maybe you caught that whole 1/3 thing Steve was talking about. Back with us once again, just like he was last year. Let's give it up to our friend, Mr. Johnny Bucks. Johnny, what's happening?
Hey, hello everybody.
Welcome back to Heroes of Noise, brother.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me back.
So what's going on with you, Johnny? How's life treating you? How's the touring life?
Yeah, it's all good, man. I've been real busy this week. We've been gigging around the country. Drove back through the night. Got back 6 a.m. Got about 3 hours sleep. So I'm kind of on the verge of hysteria already. I've got a JD and Coke to try and take the edge off, but, you know, I'm feeling all kind of feels and emotions about this movie, man. It's I've seen it once. So,
That's all you need.
yeah.
No,
Well,
Steve.
no, it isn't.
You're very incorrect.
Any more times.
And also on a side note, Jack Daniels and Coke, very underrated drink, yet again.
Oh, it's my go-to,
So
to be
good.
honest.
But I think it's also because
Yeah.
I don't really drink soda very often, and I forget how good soda tastes. And I'm like, ooh, this is good. And then you add in the other stuff. I'm like, oh man, this is a solid. Like last time it was like rum and Coke I had. I'm like, wow, this is one of the best drinks I've ever had in my life. And then Dan's the one that was like, no, it's adequately rated. People do drink that. I'm like, oh, no. Fine. Take away my wonderful happiness. But Dan, I'm going to start with you. Before you saw this movie, what was your view on the Marvel franchise as a whole?
Okay, well, first of all, nothing's really changing because I've always been super impressed with the MCU. You have to think about it this way. I've been talking about it a lot. And, you know, not every one of these movies are my favorite.
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, but when you think about it, they're all above mediocre, right? I think they're better than average to almost perfection, maybe perfection. I guess we'll find out soon. But guys, think about this.
Okay.
11 years,
Whew.
22 movies.
That's crazy.
Capping it off with Avengers Endgame. And yes, I paused for dramatic purposes because, guys, this is something that has never been done before. Never.
And in 2
possibly
months,
will never get done again.
In 2 months, Spider-Man's coming out. In 2 months.
Yeah, closing out phase 3.
That's crazy.
So they're giving us 23 beautiful movies. Again, I don't know. I think I kind of want to go back and watch a few of them over again because now I have sort of a new appreciation for them.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, man, I've always been super impressed with it because I've never seen it. No one was doing it. Like, no one was doing what MCU was doing. And did they pull it off? I think they did, man. Like, I've been sitting here wondering, like, how am I going to go about talking about this? Because I really am, like, truly shook. I just came back from the theater. And I have so many emotions, man. I'm still processing on the second time around. I saw it twice. And, but yeah, I mean, I knew they were going to give us something that was fantastic. Whether or not it was going to stick the landing, I was pretty sure it was going to. But let's face it, fans can be pretty brutal to their own.
They're already
fandom,
doing
you know?
it. Yeah, they're already.
Oh yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
Which of course I'm going to just like I'm like Superman in bullets with that shit because I didn't pay attention to any of it, man. You know what I mean? Like I threw Superman in for the Marvel universe. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck, right? But yeah, I think that they did wonderfully. And I had all the confidence in the world. I knew that they were going to give us something that we would enjoy. I just didn't realize that it was going to be on this level.
Dude. Now, Bucks, I know you've probably been a Marvel fan, but starting with Iron Man, the first Iron Man, all the way till Avengers Infinity War, how did you feel about the Marvel universe up until this very point?
I was fully in from jump.
From Iron Man.
Yeah. So much so. Yeah, so much so. It was the realization of a dream I'd had since I was a small child reading the comics. You know, finally, you know, what I'd always imagined those comics coming to life would look like was happening. And every film since then has done that to greater or lesser degrees. Even the weakest, possibly arguably the weakest of the Marvel movies has still been a bloody good film.
That's what I thought.
And you know, it's just been varying degrees of fantastic in my opinion.
That's fair.
You know, and you know, I mean, you know, Age of Ultron gets a lot of stick, for example, but the scenes in that, you know, I wept. They were so incredible. It was like seeing stuff, like I say, that I dreamed of my whole life suddenly there in front of me. So yeah, I'm completely in, man. I've cut me in half. It will say Marvel. You know what I mean? It's like a stick of rock. You know, it's well, there's pretty few other things in there, but maybe bass and a couple of other things. But
if we cut you in half, 11 of those rings are going to say Marvel.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Yeah. There'll be a 2000 AD
or
one.
Stones.
There'll be, well, I don't know. There's a good few Star Wars ones in there, as we know, but I'm unapologetically in with Marvel, and so yeah, after Infinity War, I was, well, as you know from the podcast we did on that, I loved it. I couldn't wait for this. I avoided all the speculation.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Dan, but I haven't listened to your pop culture leftovers one where you were speculating about what may or may not happen. I'll go back and listen to it now. But
he probably was right. Maybe
yeah,
Jonathan was right.
to see. But I just didn't want that. I didn't want to think about it too much because I wanted to be as sort of surprised as possible.
Yes,
you know, I'm probably well versed enough in comics to sort of sit and think and come up with some ideas about what could happen. But I didn't want to. I just wanted to just let it happen.
Yeah, it creates more of an organic experience for you.
Yeah,
you're not throwing anything in. Nothing's plugged in.
Yeah, I didn't want
to
try and figure it out. You know,
right?
I totally enjoyed the shock of the ending of Infinity War. You know, I'd gone into that without expecting that, and I wanted to ride that wave of uncertainty. You know, I wanted to just leave it at that. How I felt when I walked out, like, oh my God, that feeling that everybody had. I wanted to just hold that feeling until this.
Yes.
So that's where
Totally.
I was when I walked into the cinema on Wednesday night.
For me, when I started with this Iron Man situation, I remember to this day, I have not reacted to a trailer the way the trailer for Comic-Con for Iron Man, that way I reacted to seeing that. It was Jon Favreau created and mind you, before this, when people said they're making an Iron Man, I was one of the people that were joking, folks, because I thought it looked so corny to me. Like, I was like, if you put this on screen, it's going to look terrible. But when I saw that trailer, and then at the end, when he shot those things into the tank, walked away, and it blew up behind him, I said, oh my God, he made Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you have our attention now.
Dude. And the thing is, he put it in, this was back when Comic-Con, to my knowledge, it wasn't just a huge expo of marketing.
Yeah.
This was a thing he showed to actually the worst group you could show it to, because they could rip it apart. They know the lore. And he had such confidence in his movie. He was like, oh, no. You're going to like this. And sure enough, dude. And so it right off there I was in. I loved all the Iron Man movies. Even the one, they didn't even like the one with Homeboy with the whips. I liked it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It had some moments that were a little cheesy, but I thought on the whole that movie was really good.
Yes, I did. I was like, I like that. And I liked the third one. I thought that was fun.
I loved the third one.
I thought it was so interesting to see him become human in my brain.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, this is a guy. This is a normal guy that's really smart.
And that enabled him to say to Peter Parker in Homecoming, if you can't do it without the suit, then you shouldn't have the suit.
Bingo.
You know, that came from Iron Man 3.
Bingo.
Yeah.
There was parts where he only had the shoes, where he's just like, okay, I got to figure out how to do this without all the bells and whistles. And he did it, and people didn't like it. But I loved it. I said, this makes me feel like Tony Stark is an actual human being. Now I believe that he's a human being. It was just so great to me. And then all through all of the Marvel MCU, Avengers, and now I was one of the few that didn't like the first or second Thor.
I'm with you.
Didn't like either one of them.
Okay.
I thought they were okay at best.
They weren't terrible.
No. What they didn't realize is that there was someone on this planet that had this in his bag, and it was Taika Waititi. He had this in his bag and no one knew it. And when he took hold of it, I said, I just got introduced to Thor.
Okay.
I've met Thor for the first time.
We were talking superstars last week, and I think that the Taika Waititi movie actually made Thor a superstar.
He's a superstar. That character is a superstar.
They just did something with him. They made him a little more human, but at the same time, he's still a god. They gave him humor, empathy, and he was a little more childlike. And I just think that this version of Thor that they're doing now is fantastic. Perfect. What's to come was actually pretty surprising, and we'll get to that in just a second.
Totally.
But I loved that too. I thought it was kind of perfect.
I loved how what they did was they made him not a child, but they made him funny.
Yeah.
So that I'm like, oh, so that when they said, what are you the god of again? And the lightning starts, it hits even harder because he's been so funny this whole time. You were like, oh, that's right. He's the god of thunder. I forgot. And that's when it just hit me like a ton of bricks, because they were just like, let's make him lighthearted. Start him with a fight. You know, he's fighting the Hulk and he's getting his butt whipped and doing all this stuff. And oh, wow, he does have power. And it's just funny until the end when, dude, and mind you, I'm one of the few people on the face of the planet that had never heard that song before. So it hit me twice as hard. I was like, what is this Yes, I was like, what is this jamming song?
As we go along, Steve, with this podcast, that doesn't surprise me anymore. You know? You guys heard of this band? They're called Led Zeppelin. Have you ever heard of these guys? You should check them out.
It was a good song. I was like, oh, snap, this thing is jamming. And I told my mom, I was like, what about that song on the bridge? She was like, yeah, that's everyone heard it. I was like, wrong again. I have never heard that song. Sorry,
you could put the immigrant song over like a baking show and it's going to make it epic.
Gee, and let alone when you got him doing it like that on that. And I was like, I love this movie. So those three, like, I loved one of the Thor movies. I think those two were the ones that kind of was like, because I even liked Age of Ultron. I was like, yep, like it, love it. And so when I go into the theater waiting to see this after Infinity War, I am braced for one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. I'm already braced for that bar.
Yeah.
And then the Russo brothers said, we'll raise you just a little bit. And I said, oh, I would say that it wasn't the best. It wasn't one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It was one of the best movie-going experiences I've ever seen in my life. I've never witnessed anything on the level of what happened in this movie ever in my life. I don't know how you even, if they gave me all the scenes to this movie and said, all you have to do is put it together, I wouldn't even know where to start. I wouldn't know where to start because this is a movie filled with groundbreaking, amazing, applause-breaky, weeping, incredible scenes. There's not one scene that I'm just like, oh, that was boring. I mean, what happened in this movie was like, again, it took me to another level because, again, all the way up through this, I was just ready. So going into this movie, I was like, well, I mean, I already know it's going to be amazing.
Okay, guys, before we start, I think it's important that we rate this movie. I kind of have a feeling I know where this is going to go. I have exactly what I want to say about this, but guest first. Johnny Bucks, what's your rating on Avengers Endgame?
Okay, what's the top number?
We're going to go 5 out of 5 on this one.
Okay. 5 billion.
I know 5 just seems like such a low number, doesn't it?
I did not see that coming, oddly enough.
5 billion out of 5.
Billion.
You know, I've got a few issues with it, but yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, most definitely. There's a couple of little things.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. 5 billion.
I'm not. I have no issues, but I do have questions about a couple of things. And I have a feeling that they're probably already answered. So I'm hoping us together we can come up with those things that I have questions to. Okay. But I have no issues whatsoever right off the bat.
Things that don't have answers. Can I just go ahead and ruin that? That one I just had to let go. I think you're going to be saying a few things that I'm thinking. I have to let go. Maybe. But what? So 5 billion out of 5, that's one score. Me, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Mjolnirs.
Nice. Okay. Well, here's what I was saying. There's 5 out of 5, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's Endgame. Whew. So I may start including this into our future ratings. You know what I mean?
We should. Yeah.
Like that movie was 3 out of 5. That's cool. I'm giving mine an Endgame. Because I honestly, I think I've proven enough on this show that my excitement gets the best of me sometimes. And I've even changed my mind, a couple weeks later, a couple days later. Yeah. I'm on viewing 2 of this. And dude, I got to tell you, I actually like the movie better than I did the first time.
Wow.
So this is just my initial reaction after 2 days of watching it. Totally, we're submerged in the hype right now. Even though everyone's like whispering on the internet about it, everyone's talking about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I really think this is a perfect movie. Like I said, I have some questions, no issues whatsoever. But after the second viewing, and I said this coming out the first time, Steve, I think you'll agree with me on that. This is a perfect movie to me. My experience with this movie, the emotions that it gave me, the way I felt coming out of it, and the way that it stuck with me over the last several days, I can't get out of my head, man. I can't stop humming the Avengers song. I'm just fully buying into this. And I think because it's so important, the way that they capped the Infinity Saga off, excluding the next Spider-Man movie that's coming out, even if they didn't include that in there, I don't think they could have done any better. No. I really don't. I think I couldn't ask for anything else. I was not left wanting anything. Even things that I thought were going to happen and didn't happen, I wasn't disappointed about it. I think that they did this beautifully. And my hat goes off to the Russo brothers, man. I don't know if there's anyone else that could have done it quite this well. So I'm giving this an Endgame. It's more than 5. It's an Endgame.
Yeah.
That's you know what? It's a funny thing about you saying that now. It's going to make our rating system even more fun because I'm going to, whenever you if you're tempted to give something a 5 out of 5, I'll be like, that's fine. Is it an Endgame? And if you're like, yes, I'll put it in Endgame territory. That's going to be pretty serious. I'll be like, maybe
it's also going to be pretty tough to do.
That's going to be very, 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 for me, I don't see anything happening like that in my lifetime. Because unless they start another 11-year thing that all the movies are incredible and then cap it off, here's the problem. Marvel is the only one that could do it again. If they start over and do something, I would not be surprised if they're able to do it again. I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, don't get me wrong. You know how much I love Star Wars, right?
Oh, this is going to interest.
Even Star Wars hasn't done this. No, seriously, even Star Wars hasn't done it, because think about it. There's 9 movies that we're counting. I'm excluding all the anthology movies right now. Okay. Just the 9 movies. And though I haven't seen the 9th one yet, they didn't have this like just consecutive flow. It took several decades to get here for Star Wars.
Yeah.
These guys did it all in basically one decade. And they just kept building momentum and building momentum. So even Star Wars hasn't done something to this capacity yet. So this is, to me, one of the most important movies of all time, if not the most important movie of all time. I'm not talking about substance or the script or anything. I'm talking about the feat that it's accomplished. In my opinion, probably the most important movie of all time.
Bucks?
They had such a big job to bring this all together, and they did it. And they did it so much better than I could have imagined. I think you're right. I don't think in cinema there's ever been anything like this Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the way they've managed to build it and build it and build it. And are we getting into spoilers yet?
You know, we should probably mention that actually, because at this point, all bets are off. Yeah. Anything can be a spoiler from this point on.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's just a general point, and I think one of the great triumphs of this film is not only does it kind of finish the story, it makes sense of all the movies, and it pays tribute to every film from the first one all the way through. It gives you another perspective on all of those films and adds a whole nother level to everything. Not only have they told the story and finished the story, they've added a whole nother dimension to all of it, which is mind-blowing. I wasn't expecting that. I'd have been happy.
That's true.
I'd have been happy with just a really good story and a great ending. But the way that they've made sense of all of it on a whole nother level and connected it all together, it's just astonishing.
It makes no sense. Like, for me, it's from the opening scene. We see Hawkeye lose his family. In order for that scene to work, they had to think in Infinity War, we can't show Hawkeye losing his family, because in the next movie, we're going to be centering a lot of it around him and what he's willing to do in order to get his family back. You have to look so far forward to even make that first scene. I said, they're working at a different level, dude. I don't even understand how you think that way. Because had it not been the first scene, the rest of the stuff with Hawkeye would make no sense. We'd understand that, oh, he lost his family, but it would be a hypothetical. They had to show him lose his family so that we can understand that in, was it Tokyo? When he's killing everybody, we get, oh, because we saw him lost his family earlier.
Yeah.
It's just a genius play on filmmaking. Like, let's remind you that this guy lost his family, since we're going to be centering it a lot around him. Dude, it's a genius way of doing movies.
Not to mention the grand level of what they do that on, the grand scale, rather. Not only do they take his family away, but they put him in the middle of this huge field just to show you the emptiness when he looks around.
So beautifully
just
done.
to show you how alone he is, you know.
It's devastating.
So impressive, though, the way that they did that. And they grab you right there.
Immediately.
You're in.
And they didn't show you didn't see them disappear.
Nope.
So you experienced it.
You just saw some remnants.
You experienced it like he did. Because he didn't see them go.
Yes.
He just looked up and they were gone. And that's the experience we had too. Which brought us right there with him. And I just thought it was so beautifully done. And so hard hitting.
Incredible.
It was like, oh my God. And that's just the first scene. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh man, buckle up. This is.
That's what I said.
You knew they were serious straight away. It's like, oh man, this is going to be insane. That first scene is so powerful. It was like, oh man, I'm going to get beat up in the next 3 hours.
Here's another thing too. Clint never got a chance to see anyone else disintegrate or
No.
whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so the dusting of them, if you will.
Yeah.
He never saw that. So we know what's happening because we just, he turns around and we see his daughter drifting off in the dust, but he didn't know what was happening. He was still confused.
He saw it on the news. He got on the news. Was like, what the crap?
So he gets it stuck to him in such a big way at the beginning of this movie, but we get reminded of the importance of it and what's exactly going on. And it was just so well done, man. So well done.
Yeah, we're immediately right back there, like I said, with that feeling, that I spent the last year trying to hang on to, that feeling of shock. They immediately reconnect us with that. And it's so brilliant.
It's genius. And the fact that they said, we're not going to sit in this. Because the thing I thought was, here's what they're going to do. What the Russo brothers are going to do is bring everyone back. But they were like, 5 years later, I'm like, oh, Jesus. People had to be without their families for 5 years? That's insane to me. They were like, yeah, they had to sit with that sickness because no one could figure out what to do. You just had to sit with it. But like, that is such a ballsy move for them to do.
But the 5 years later comes after after the whole bit with Thanos.
Yeah.
Which in itself was a complete mind blow. I threw my arms up in the air.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a huge what the hell moment.
Yeah. I really wasn't expecting that.
It was, and the thing is, that's the last time we see Thor like Thor.
Yeah.
We don't see buff Thor anymore.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me.
But brilliant. Ballsy, though.
It was brilliant. And I love how they kind of did you could tell something was happening to Thor that wasn't happening, oddly enough, to anyone else. There was something about him feeling defeat that no one else felt. Like he had the PTSD situation.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
It was everyone else kind of, but the thing is, as a god, he has not felt defeat before. He normally comes back, handles business, things go back to normal. And it didn't happen this time. What happens when a god feels defeat? Finality. Done, there is no getting things back. What happens then? And I was like, the Russo brothers, man. Like, they knew that he couldn't react the same as everyone else. He couldn't. Everyone took it differently. We all saw, because I think that thing with the biggest thing I got from the Thanos storyline is, in his brain, he won.
Yeah.
Like, at that moment, he didn't care because he won already.
Yeah. I am inevitable.
Exactly. He's like, it's not a big deal because I win, your people are gone. Well, how do we get him back? You can't. Yeah. It's over.
Yeah. Done.
I won. I didn't expect to live 1,000,000 years after this. I'm good. That is such a villain.
He's pretty much done everything that he needs to do. He's just living the rest of his life out now.
Exactly.
And he's accepted all the consequence that it he had lost too, remember?
Yeah.
He had to give up something he loved just to make this happen. But he's just left to do his own thing. And what's up with him wearing t-shirts now, by the way?
He's not even.
He was nice and comfy.
Yep. And you know what I loved? The scarecrow the scarecrow of his armor.
Yeah.
He's done.
Yeah.
That was the signal of, I don't care.
I'm hanging it up.
I'm done. And when he wasn't surprised that they were there.
No.
He's like, well, yeah. I won already. And then how do we get him back? You can't. I took the stones out with the stones. When he said that, I said, those things are gone, dog. I used the stones to get rid of the stones. I'm like, yep, that's how you would get rid of them. If you really wanted to, they're gone. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
He won and walked.
Yeah, he was fine. Then Thor turns up, wham.
Dude. And then he said, what did you do?
Yeah.
I went for the head. But he said it in such a mopey teenager way.
Because he knew that he did it, but it was already too late.
Exactly. It was so smart.
And that's what led to the guy we see.
He did it in a teenager way.
Yeah. And
yes.
And then we see next time we see him.
Hey, can I bring us back for a second, though?
Yeah.
Because we skipped something and I want to talk about it. The scene where we first see Tony and Nebula.
Oh, yeah.
What did you guys think about that?
So amazing. Skinny Tony.
very emaciated, right?
So well done.
I was going to ask you, do you think that
well
was
done.
CGI, or do you think they gave him time to lose some weight?
I
It was
think
CGI.
it was CGI, but I don't know. Maybe he did, but
Really good detail. I was
It was
just watching
great.
that again. So where his arc reactor is, you could see the ribs surrounding it, and just the way that his cheeks are all contoured in and everything like that. I thought they did such a great
they
job
really
with Tony
did.
in this one.
They really did.
Nebula this time around has had time to sort of become more of a better person, or a better being, I guess you could say. And I love their interaction. I love the whole football scene that they're playing where he's teaching her how to play football. She's getting frustrated.
Yeah.
I felt that they gave her a new level of compassion, because there's the point where we've all seen it on the commercial where he's talking to his mask and he's talking to Pepper.
Yeah.
And once he is finished with that, he just lies down because he's accepted defeat. He knows he's going to be gone. He knows he's going to be dying within just a matter of a few hours.
Yeah.
And I love that he laid down right there. He was done. He said, this is going to be my final resting place right here. Literally my final resting place. And it was Nebula that came in and said, no, you can't go out like that. You're fucking Tony Stark. She puts him into the captain's seat.
That's how you die.
And you die, and she had him die with dignity, or she was planning on him dying with dignity. I just thought that was such a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
It was absolutely, and I love, here's the thing for me with the Tony Stark part, where he was like, imagine being part of the most amazing superhero collective in history. Something no one has ever seen. Something that everyone has told you that is undefeatable. When you have a Nick Fury that keeps on being like, you guys are the Avengers. You guys can do anything. And then being defeated on such a level that you literally are in space waiting to die. Dying in defeat and being okay with that. Being like, we tried. That's all he can say. We did our best. But the thing is, later on, we realize he didn't think we did our best. He thinks there were mistakes made all through the fight. So we had to swallow that and just die. Just swallow it and die. We messed up. And I'm like, dude, the level of defeat that he felt in that moment. God.
And the anger as well, which that we see when he gets back.
We see exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's just like, we could have done better. You messed up. And I'm like, oh man, that's what he was in but in the thing, he's like, okay, it's over. I'm dying. Okay. Such is life. And then you see that glow. And immediately I knew what it was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh snap. So freaking good. And it was I'm sure that whoever didn't see Captain Marvel is like, who's that? Who the deuce is that?
Yeah.
So hopefully they go see it.
Yeah.
I really, because I mean, Captain Marvel's number 2 again, which is great. That means that, this movie is lifting Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
People are like, wait, I want to see more about this woman. What's she all about? And so that's a wonderful thing. But again, the thing with Nebula and Tony are beautiful. You see her not becoming human, but being the emotions happening, where she's understanding. She's seen these people work to their bone to save the world. And you can't help, machine or human, you cannot help but say, wow, that was incredible. What a fight. Because she's a fighter and she knows a fighter.
Yeah.
These people fought to their bone and lost. And the thing is, she understands, because she's like, that's my dad. I know. I get it. If you're going to lose to anyone, it's going to be my father. For sure. It's not going to be, no question. So she got it. But I thought it was a beautiful thing. Thanks for bringing that up, Dan. Beautiful scene.
Oh, no problem. One other thing that I really liked about that was when, same scene, it's when Tony's talking, he's narrating, and it shows him that their rations are going out. So he's got a little bit of food left, and he offers it to Nebula.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm mostly machine, so I don't even really need this. So she gives it back to him, like, you get your last meal. And it's just such a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
So well done.
Thing. It was, and it's a thing of when he lands, we all feel his frustration. But the thing is, right then, from when he lands and he's talking to Cap is just a leader, man. He just is a leader. He doesn't, hit back, which is, me, Dan, and Bucks. We would all hit back and be like, who do you think you're talking to? You ain't got a machine on you right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a guy. You know what I'm saying? A skinny guy. I'm still, because Cap just keeps his good, hey, everything will be all right. But dude, this was the first time that I saw Cap defeated. It was over. Like, Tony wasn't going to hear any of his rah rah shish boom bah. He was done. He was like, skip it all. And then Dan, what could Cap say?
I think that he was feeling just as guilty. They're all feeling terrible, man.
And Cap was the
they
leader.
Have some key role in the fact that half the universe is now gone. Not just half the world, half the universe is gone. And they have that on their heads. I mean, Captain Marvel says it themselves. There's a point where Rhodey kind of gets on her a little bit. And he's like, hey, we're all into this whole superhero life. But like, you just got here.
Yeah.
So how can you talk to us like that? And she's like, and where were you for that matter? And she's like, okay, hold up.
Yeah.
Like, you're dealing with this on Earth. Who do you think's taking care of the rest of the universe, man? There's lots of other galaxies out there, and they don't have an Avengers.
Yeah.
I've been handling business elsewhere.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Exactly, dude. And that was a beautiful thing said. I thought it was really important. I also think an important part was, remember, Tony kind of relinquished leadership against his will to Cap. So he's like, you know what? We're going to do it Cap's way. And it didn't work.
Which tells me that he's been harboring bad feelings about this.
Exactly, G. And
since
it all
Ultron
came out. Yep.
He's like, I don't mean to bring up old shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And it all came to the forefront.
I wanted a suit of armor around the world, and you weren't down with it.
Bingo, dude. And you saw how it just was like eating him up. And he's just like this. And he kind of wants to say, this is your loss. He's trying to do the whole, I ain't even tripping. This is your thing. You messed up. I'm not even bugging over it. But of course he is.
Well, the last time they met up was Civil War, where they beat the shit out of each other.
Exactly. Exactly. And he's like, are you happy now?
Yeah.
Are you happy now, Captain America? Good job. And here's the thing. I get it. I don't know what Tony would have done differently, but here's what I will know. The worst that could have happened is what happened. Half of the world died.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, I get why Tony's so mad. I totally understand why he's so mad. I thought it was a brilliant, like I said, they set you up to be like, hey, all your theories, go back, get Thanos, kill this, nothing's going to work. It's over. And I genuinely thought that maybe after they decapitated Thanos, I thought, what if people are gone? What if they are gone? What if it's over? I would not put it past Marvel. That's what made it so amazing, is because it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that Marvel would do a switcheroo saying, yeah, people are gone. They're gone. I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, that was it. As soon as Thanos was out of the picture, all of a sudden, then you get 5 years later, it's like, what the hell is going on?
Exactly. I'm like, oh my God.
What? 5 years? What?
I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe we were watching this.
Yeah. We're in unknown territory now, man. Anything can happen. It's crazy.
Anything. Now, Dan, which happened first? The Scarlet talking to the superheroes, or the meeting with Cap?
Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Because it's 5 years later, and then they show, I think it's Yankee Stadium. I think it was Yankee
cool.
Stadium, and it's all barren.
I think that's what's so dope about that scene, because I didn't want to jump ahead. What's so dope about that scene that touched me and messed me up in the theater was, with half the world gone, everyone's a superhero. There is no, we're going to save no, now everyone's just normal. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to move forward. He even just straight out said, he's like, look, I was in ice for 70 years and popped up, and I've had to move on with my life. And no one's like, hey, Captain America, what's going on? It's not that anymore. It's over. Those days are over. It's almost like the superhero does not exist anymore. We're all people that got screwed over. That's it. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
And that was one of the Russos, the guy that he was talking to, wasn't it?
Yeah, the guy that was the gay guy that he was talking about. He was the one that was talking about the Mets being gone and everything.
Yeah.
Everyone's on the same playing field now.
Yeah.
And it's like, how depressing is that? There is no Captain America because there's no need for one.
But God bless him for doing that, though,
Exactly.
That's so Cap. That's what he would do. He'd be helping other people. I really felt in this film, particularly, the wisdom of age with Steve Rogers.
Yes.
You know, he's got that grandfather wisdom, you know, because he's the same generation as my grandfather was, you know.
Yes, totally.
And you really feel that, I think, in this film, probably more than all the other ones. I mean, obviously there's the bit right at the end, but he felt like that dude the whole way through to a certain degree. I really felt his wisdom. He has that perspective on life.
Also, another beautiful thing, great point right there. Another beautiful thing is the fact that, when that Russo brother said, you know, we were sitting down, enjoying a cup of Joe or tea, and then you just start crying because you can't mask the hurt.
Mm.
Yeah, it's grief.
Yeah.
Grief comes when it wants to.
Yeah.
It comes, and he's like, we got almost through the whole thing. And when he says it like that, that means, oh yeah, we've all tried to date, but it always comes at a certain point where we all look at each other like, oh yeah, we've lost.
What are
family.
we doing?
What are we doing here?
We're doing a thing.
Bingo! And I was like, oh, this is so good. And then Cap comes in on the top of it all and says, look, there's only one option here, and it's to move forward day to day. The people are gone. We have got, because time is going to move without you. We have to move forward. And I'm like, leave it to Cap. Leave it to Captain America to be like, look, guys, you wonderful. And he says, wonderful job. You went out. You did it. Even though you started crying in the middle of it, you took the step that was needed to move on with your life. Come on, man.
Not only was he doing that, first of all, you know that he's kind of not necessarily lying to them, but he's lying to himself.
Totally.
Because he knows that that's what, I'm supposed to do this. I have to be the bigger person here, and I have to make sure that these people try to live the best lives that they can leave after all of this, what's happened. But more importantly, such a Steve Rogers thing to do was to take over the grief therapy that Sam was doing.
Yes.
Sam was originally doing that.
Yes.
So I just thought that was great.
That was beautiful.
He kept it going in honor of Sam.
Yeah.
And mind you, Captain America lost the love of his life, moved 70 years ahead, and then lost everyone again.
Mm.
That's twice. And he's doing the grief counseling.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely knows about loss.
He knows about loss doubly, which is then the ending makes even more sense now.
Mm.
He's like, geez, man, when do I get just a little? And I'm like, oh, they were kind of sending smoke signals the whole movie.
Yeah.
Being like, this guy has been wrung around over and over and over and over and put himself aside. Does it for Tony. He lets him go ahead and brutalize him. He does all these things. He does this grief counseling thing. He's the one mulling it over all this time saying, how do we get everyone back when everyone else is like, no, they're gone. No, they're gone. No, they're gone. He's the one thinking for the last 5 years, how do we do this? How can we make this happen? He deserved his ending, man. He deserved it. He held out hope. If it was up to Tony, the person who was supposed to be figuring this out, people would still be gone. He gave up. And Shuri got evaporated. There is no Shuri anymore.
Yeah, I guess they kind of, they sort of answered our question because we didn't know what happened with her at the end of Infinity War, right?
Yes, until we saw her.
Everyone was kind of speculating,
Yeah.
was she still around? Did she get killed? And now it answered our question. She did in fact die.
Mm.
And the thing is, because they did it smart. The Russo brothers knew if she was still on the planet, everyone's coming back. Because she's the smartest person in the world. She'll figure it out. But if she's gone and Tony says no, there's only one option. And it's an option I didn't even see coming. We'll get to it. But I didn't, he's like, there's only another. I was like, who else can they go to? I was like, oh, I forgot about him. I forgot that he was something else also. But I thought it was so brilliant. Also, look, I'm not a Scarlett Johansson fan. I'm not big on Scarlett.
Steve.
I know.
I don't know what you're doing, man.
Steve.
She's not a great actress, dude.
Steve.
Come on, Bucks. You think Scarlett Johansson's a good actress?
I do.
Yeah.
Johnny Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Win.
This film.
That's it. Thank you. This film.
and a few others.
Tell me what, Bucks?
Lost in Translation.
Stop it.
She was good. She didn't even have to show herself.
She did a voice. That doesn't count.
Why? It's acting.
No, it's not. It's voice acting. In that case, Homer Simpson's
But you
great
just
too.
said the word.
It's true.
Acting.
So in that case, the guy who does Homer Simpson's voice is an amazing actor.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Dan.
I mean, I don't want to start splitting hairs and go off onto a weird tangent because we have so much to talk about.
That's true.
But you did ask a question.
Okay, she is able to act. If I put her in a school play, she would stand out. I will say that. They would say, "Oh, she's really good." But in this film, when they did the whole, she kind of took charge and they did all the meeting and they were making a really funny joke about Homegirl's hair, which was great. Like, War Machine was funny in this movie.
Yeah.
He was really good. But what broke my heart is when everyone left and then it was just her and War Machine. And that conversation, I was like, oh, dude, this is terrible. I mean, for them, and I bet both you and Bucks and Dan, you guys knew exactly who they were talking about off the jump, huh?
Yeah, I did.
You notice how they didn't have to really specify a lot?
Because he wasn't really there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Everyone else was there. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Normally,
and they did say his last name.
That's true. But at first, they were just like, right when they stopped, he's like, so where is he? And he's like, they said the name when we already knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, because she asked him, she's like, so where are you right now? He's like, I'm in Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with all these dead cartel people that are around
We already knew.
And it looks like it's the work of Barton.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And we were like, damn. Yeah. And when she was like, he left and then she started tearing up, it broke my heart.
Yeah, man, that's acting.
That is acting in this very one movie. That is acting. That is acting. And then for Steve Rogers to be like, I'm coming. Hey, how are you? And she's like, I'm checking on a friend. Oh, Captain America, baby. Captain, he's there when you didn't even know you needed him.
I just love how they all have this beaten look at the beginning.
They're done.
That's just what we're talking about. I'm not breaking any new ground here or anything like that. But like you're saying, when she sat there, her hair even looks different. She's not as well kept together. You don't see her you usually see her in fighting mode. You don't just see her sitting there in her office eating a freaking peanut butter sandwich, just trying to like keep her life together. Yeah. But the way that she did break down like that, it just shows how this has affected them so much. To us, this is just a movie, but to them, if this was in fact nonfiction, they're dealing with so much.
5 years.
I know personally how it is to grieve. And even after like 7 years, it still comes back and hits you hard. Dude. So I can only imagine on the level that they're doing.
Dude. Yeah. And what I loved is, did you notice how all of the heroes were downtrodden? And then they were just like, well, I mean, I guess I'll talk to you guys later. And then Captain Marvel's like, you won't see me for a while. I have to go handle somebody. And everybody's like, all right. It wasn't like a go for it. No. They're just like, oh, okay. All right.
And that was a great point, too, because that's another time where Captain Marvel does say something like, well, you're not going to see me for a while because I'm handling all this up there. Again, they don't have the Avengers. And Rocket's like, that's a good point. That's a good point. He tells her.
And everyone's just kind of like, all right, guys, talk to you guys later. All right, bye.
This line's like always open if you need me.
Exactly. It wasn't like a yay. None of that. It's just, we are going through the motions. It's like me having grief counseling and there's only one person there who's still in town. And they're like, who knows? Maybe somebody else will come. They're like, well, regardless, we have to make sure we keep this open every Monday at 5. Just in case. We never know if someone's going to walk through that door. That's what they're doing. You never know. What if they do need us? We got to make sure we're here for it. I'm like, God, these are the Avengers, man.
Yeah.
God, they're the Avengers. And then with Steve Rogers, for him to be like, hey, I saw well, since there's less people, not a lot of pollution.
Yeah.
Does that mean Thanos was kind of right a little?
Yes. Exactly. Thank you for bringing that up because he knew he was right. Yeah. It's a very ugly reality, but he wasn't wrong. I saw whales in the Hudson.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. And she said, oh, stop looking at the bright side. He wasn't. That is a real thing. Was Thanos kind of right?
Yeah, he was. And that's why, I don't know if I wanted to, should I do this now?
You tell
I think I'm going to wait on it. But that does bring me back to the question of like that I said last year, because I'm sure all you listeners are just hanging on to this question. You've been waiting a year for it, right? What I'm getting at is the level of importance that Thanos carries as far as a villain goes in cinematic history. I have my answer. I don't know if you guys do.
You already know. I think he's the best. He is at least one of the... Oh, dude, I forgot. Never mind. I just thought of another villain.
Well, let's do it. Let's talk about that.
It's another Marvel villain that I was just like, oh, I get what he's saying. I get it. They know how to make villains. They perfected it. But I would think that Thanos is, in the theatrical realm, the best villain I have ever seen on screen. Ever. The end. That's it.
Johnny?
I think within the genre, definitely.
What about outside the genre?
Oh, man, that's a big field.
It's a huge field.
You know.
Does one hit your brain that you're like, this is a person that would at least compete with that? Just off the top. If it's nobody, it's no big deal. But if you're like, this person's a good villain too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I'm sure there's some like classic movies that have got some...
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
You make a good point about it being within the genre. But if you just kind of had to piece them all together like that,
yeah.
Did any other villain ever deal with those type of stakes?
No, absolutely not. And to be so well realized and fully rounded as a character, not just like a guy with the, with the cape round his face, like cackling. He
is so, it's well-rounded is exactly.
He's an understandable, and you can empathize to a certain degree with him, even though his whole approach is twisted. There's a logic to it. It is a consistency to his thinking. It isn't just being evil for evil's sake, or
well said.
Or that ultimately there's a redemption arc where he's been completely evil, and then right at the end, it's like, oh, actually, no, I was wrong. He's just putting it out there from the beginning. He's upfront and honest from the beginning of where we first meet him. And he's like, well, this is why I'm doing it. You might not agree, but I think this needs to be done. And I'm the only person that can do it. So I got to do it.
Dan, you've seen this movie recently. We're going to jump ahead a little bit, but we're going to go right back to where we were doing, because I just wanted to ask you, did he hold the hammer?
He grabbed Stormbreaker.
Bruh. Now, that's what I was saying, because I know it's not about good or evil. It's about if you're worthy.
Right. Yeah. And Stormbreaker didn't have the enchantment on it that Mjolnir had.
I thought Stormbreaker did.
It was very impressive what was done. But when they went to, what was it, Nidavellir or something like that to get it done? Yeah. I can never say that name right, but you know what I'm talking about.
I still can't say that. I can't say the hammer.
Nidavellir, I believe, is what it is. And when they went there, they did create a new weapon for him. But there was no enchantment on it.
That's real. Okay, cool. Okay, that makes total sense. And then jump in. Here's a thing about Thanos that this is when I knew we're dealing with a villain that is on such a different level. If we were in a room with Nebula and we saw these visions, we would say, maybe it's like an alternate reality. He immediately said, nope, that's the future. I said, this villain is on a different level. He pieced it together that quick.
And what a dread feeling that was.
Come on, dude.
How much did you just think, oh, shit.
I said, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
I said, this man is too daggone smart. He's like, no. Everybody else was like, well, maybe this makes no sense. And immediately was like, oh, yeah, it does, my friend.
Yeah.
This is the future.
Yeah. It's like, no. Oh, no.
Because it totally solidified his feelings that he's been having this whole time. He still had that mission in his head. It just hadn't been executed yet.
Amplified
it. So this just solidified it.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think that's the turning point, John. I think that's exactly when, because like you were saying, in the last one, in Infinity War, we empathized with him. We understood where he was coming from to some degree.
Yeah.
And when it starts off, we're still feeling that way. Even though he gets beheaded and everything, we're still feeling that way.
Yeah.
Once he sees what happens in Nebula's mind or her memory, that's when everything flips for him and he becomes more of a villain.
Yeah, he gets on the front
because now it's like, okay, I'm going to make this happen.
Because he knew it was he thought it was inevitable. Like when he saw his head get cut off, everybody else was like, ooh. And he said, I see it like a prophecy fulfilled.
Yeah.
I don't see me dying. I see that I won.
Yeah, that's the
I
outcome
said,
I
that
want.
is a villain.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
It was never
win.
about Thanos.
Not at
That's
all.
the thing
dude.
with him. It never was.
No.
I mean, it'd be great if he stuck around, I'm sure, in his opinion, but it wasn't about him. He had to borrow the line from the movie, he had to do whatever it takes to make that happen.
Yeah.
Gee.
If it cost him his life, it cost him his life. And he didn't really seem to be affected by that
even
whatsoever,
close.
outside of doubling down and making sure that this thing happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, here's what he thought. He said, if there's an alternate future timeline, that means I can also go into his brain just immediately started turning. I said, this guy is not, he didn't waste time when most villains are like, oh, a future timeline? What does that mean for, nope. He immediately was like, okay, now that this is true, this must be true, and that must be true, and this must be true. This is what we'll do. Literally within how many minutes? 2? He's like, that's what we'll do. Done. I said, this guy, that's why he's a terribly terrifying villain. He thinks everything through and he can fight. So to answer your question, Dan, in my opinion, he is the best villain we have ever had on screen.
I totally agree with you, Steve. I think he is kind of like a total package when it comes to villains. And that's not discrediting any other movies. There's no need for any kind of... I mean, I'm happy to debate, but I don't really feel it's necessary because it's just the way that I feel and apparently you feel. And it's just that's that, and that's perfectly fine. But to have that grand of a mission and to go through the things that he went through to get that done. And then what we find out he does later on where he completely just... See, that's the thing is that, he's living this... I wouldn't say selfless because, he took out so many people. But again, he was happy to include himself in that. He wasn't tripping on that whatsoever, right? Until the end. When he thought that shit was going to go down, and I will get there, but when he thought, oh, this might just be it. This might be the failure moment right here. He sort of changed plans and became all about Thanos.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I had a crew of the most dangerous killers ever and I was hiding behind a rock and I was like, all right, let's sneak up on him. And I turn around and he's just sitting in the middle of the field with his armor next to him. And then he starts talking to me, putting on his armor. I'd be like, we might be in trouble. We thought someone else was going to fight. We thought he was going to send an army to fight us. He was like, oh no, I like to do my dirt all by my lonely. I get off on this. This is what I do. I'm like, oh no. He is a fighter first and foremost. And man, oh man, that's what, so for me, I'm like, he would be the person if I ran up against, I'd be like, tell my mom I love her. Because I'm probably not coming back. Chances are. Because he is a devastating opponent. So yes, I will go with Thanos, sir.
Since we're talking about that, because I'm sure this heats up some people when they talk about it. I'm sure you got, there's Darth Vader fans out there that are screaming at us right now. Ooh. And believe me, I compared him to Thanos.
Yes.
But I'm very curious what you guys think. So if you think, is Thanos the greatest cinematic villain of all time? Is he not? Why? Send us in your emails, man. I want to read this on the air and see what you guys think about this, because I think it's if he's not the best, he's got to be up there, right? He's got to be in the top 3. But if not, I want to know why you think you agree with me or you disagree with me. I'd love to hear that. So heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. Send those in. And of course, you can go online, www.heroesofnoise.com. Send us a voicemail, even better. And we'll play it on the show. Sorry, I just wanted to break for a second to put that out there because I'm very curious what people think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. And so what did you think about Hawkeye's miraculous fighting ability?
I thought he was vicious.
He was great.
Yeah.
Super vicious.
He's never been able to fight like that, right?
Well, he's had 5 years and he's got a whole new new way of thinking.
Fucking pissed off.
Dude. Yeah.
He's gone all Punisher basically, isn't it? He's lost his family, just taking it out on all the bad guys.
His fuel is vengeance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's if he can't change the current situation, he just went on this massive vigilante assassination kind of thing where he was just traveling all over the world and taking out people that he could prevent. I don't know what he was thinking exactly. I guess he just had to. It's like punching the terrible. Don't really do this, folks. But it's like punching the dog because the cat made you mad. You can't do anything to change that.
That's true.
But he can definitely take out some baddies in the process and maybe make himself feel a little bit better. I'm sure there was some catharsis going on there too.
But it's when Natasha turns around and talks to him. And he says, don't do that. And she's like, what?
Oh.
He says, give me hope. because it's just his anger that's just been the only thing keeping him going for this whole time. And that was such a brilliant line. I kind of heard it. I thought, oh, that's what he's going to say just before he said it. And for a moment, I thought, yeah, I kind of thought he'd say that. But then I thought, I'm so glad he did, because that's so fucking...
It's brilliant.
So great. It says everything in one line, you know?
If you put yourself in his shoes and what he's been dealing with, I'm sure he sat there many a night just crying, staring at a wall, trying to figure out what happened, what he could do to bring them back, realizing that he can't. He's going through all steps of grief. And then on top of that, he's had 5 years to do it. So yes, this man is not in the mood to hear anything that can't. Don't even tease me a little bit. Yes. I don't want to hear it.
Because if it doesn't happen,
remember,
if it doesn't happen, he's already at that point. And if he's offered a glimmer of hope that doesn't resolve, that's unimaginable.
More people are going to die.
Yeah, that's an unimaginable pain for him to be in.
Natasha does not believe this is going to work by the way she's saying it to him. She's like, I mean, we can try, like, you know, we can probably do this, but there is no, I promise you it will work.
Yeah, there was no optimism, but she knew that that's the only way that that's the only chance they really had.
That's it. I'm giving you hope because that's all we have right now is hope. And mind you, you know who the secret superstar to this movie is that made it all possible?
Who's that?
Ant-Man.
I was going to say.
That's true. Well, actually, it would be the rat.
There'd be the rat that pressed the button.
It would be the rat. He's the one that came in and was like, hey, look, this time thing, right? Everyone else would be like, whatever. But he's like, wait a minute, though. And even though he's not a scientist, his human mind was trying to be like, it's on the tip of my tongue how this can work.
So
brilliant. I can't quite explain it.
I love Paul Rudd. I just love that guy so much. He's so awesome. I mean,
God, he's good.
I mean, he can slap at the bass.
Slap at the BS, man. Slap at the BS.
But
totes my goats, he can.
But I thought, oh man, I mean, I was going to try and save this comment for a bit because it applies so many times. But each of these characters, they have these scenes which are like a whole movie in themselves. Like when he comes back, you know, the rat presses the button, the van lights up, he's there. His little help sign to the security guy. Yeah. He gets out into the world and he's just, what the what's gone?
What happened?
And he goes and he says to that kid, you know, what happened? And the kid just looks at him and cycles away.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and he's wandering around and you see the world the way it is. You know, the piles of garbage and you know, and then he gets, and when he finally meets up with Cassie, that was the first tears
he
for
doesn't
me.
Even recognize her at first.
Oh. Yeah, man. I'm with you on that.
And when he says you got big, you got so big, which applies to him becoming Giant Man, and in the future she becomes Stature. She sort of takes on the.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, she becomes like the new Ant-Man, Giant Man.
I did not know
that. Yeah. But reunited with his daughter like that, I mean, their stories always touch me. And you know, being a father of a daughter, you know, they get all those feels anyway. But yeah, that was amazing. When they saw each other and she saw him through the screen door, and it's just so amazing.
It was and remember, he didn't get those 5 years back.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm like, oh, he just missed them now.
Yeah, it's good.
It's over. He doesn't get those back. God.
And I'm sure the shock of it too, because he was only in the quantum realm in his mind for 5 hours.
Yeah.
5 hours.
Imagine that.
So that's just got to just blow his mind. 5 hours. That's like going to sleep and waking up and the world is ending.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I know for a split second, he must have thought, did I come to the wrong reality? I might have messed up because this isn't Earth. What happened? I would think I might have pushed the wrong button.
Yeah.
And for sure, because I'm like, why is everything overgrown? What's going on here? Did I miss something? And the devastating truth, I think once he saw his daughter, that's when he was like, oh, no. He's fresh off this. Everyone else had been grieving for 5 years. This grief plus the fact that he knows what can happen in the time realm, he's like, oh, no. We got to fix this. What y'all doing? Why y'all just sitting around? Let's go. And they're still be like, we've been grieving for 5 years. Why are we going to do this? And only one person jumps on the bandwagon immediately, and that's Captain America.
But when they see him on the camera and they go, is this old footage? Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
is this an old thing? They can't believe it because suddenly anything becomes possible. It's like
anything.
What? They're all just so amazed. And then he comes in and he's so kind of enthusiastic but vague.
And Captain jumps on the board. He's like, okay, let's try. And I'm like, wow, only Captain will be like, I don't really know what you're saying, but it sounds like we could kind of do something with this. Let's see if we can.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, Captain America. After 5 years, he's not like, hey, we've already been there. Come on, shut up. Captain is immediately on board, dude.
Yeah.
Let's do it. What kind of, I mean, who doesn't want him? Who doesn't want him as their leader when everyone else kind of was just like, this is the way life is going to be? As soon as there's hope, he is on that boat, dude. He's on it. Let's try. I mean, God.
And then Tony's like, no. We
Nope.
talked about that, but he's like, nah.
Same thing I would have said. If I had my little man.
And now he's got, now he's got his little daughter.
No.
He's got his little life. They got lucky,
They got lucky. And the rest of the world is suffering, but it's like, look, this happened before my little girl.
Yeah.
Y'all's gonna have to dip.
One thing I didn't want to gloss over, getting back to Scott Lang, was I'm sure it really hit him the worst when they showed that memorial in San Francisco.
Oh my God, yeah.
With all those names on the wall. That's when I thought that it really kicked in for him. Like, oh my God.
Everybody's
what
dead.
happened,
Yes. Everybody's dead. But immediately his wheels are turning. Because he, like everyone else, is like, we're the freaking superheroes of the world. We need to figure out how to do it. And I love that he did not use one scientific word explaining what his idea was.
Yeah.
He was just trying to get it out. Be like, I don't know, something, He's like, I guess we could do something, right?
Are you trying to say time machine or whatever it was?
I know!
Time heist. Oh,
loved it.
So brilliant.
Loves time heist.
So brilliant.
And he's like, no, it's a machine for, he's like, yeah, it's a time machine, but so what?
But it's almost like the script writers are like, you don't want to say it, do you? It's such a cliche.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's brilliant. Works on so many levels.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And the fact that they went to Tony, and the thing is, was anyone else shocked when Tony's daughter came out?
I thought it was a great scene. I thought we needed to see that because it was something he was talking about at the beginning of Infinity War. So he actually did get to play out the life that he wanted to for a little while. Yes, he had to deal with all the loss and everything of his partners and, of course, the world, but not to mention the universe. But he got to get himself a little bit of normal for 5 years. And he got himself this beautiful daughter, Morgan. Him and Pepper settled down. And he was just living it out, man. And I think that they really showed that too. They demonstrated it very well because he wasn't living in the city anymore. He was so far removed from all that. He's living in a lake house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, granted, it's the dopest lake house ever with all the Stark tech in there.
He still got the Skrilla,
but
make no mistake.
Yeah. He's like, I might be sad, but I'm not broke.
But
I am anything but broke.
But there was such a lovely tenderness with the scenes with him and his daughter. It was the usual Tony Stark banter, but in such a parental fashion. He's coming. He's coming out of all the gags and everything, and he's being funny, but in such a lovely way. It's kind of it's softened.
Yeah, he's doing his Tony Stark thing when he's even not necessarily disciplining Morgan, but he's like going, well, where'd you get the helmet?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have that.
Yeah.
Oh, you like being in the garage, don't you? You're not supposed to be in the garage. He's being a parent.
Beautiful.
Clearly being a
so
brilliant dad.
Wonderful.
And loving being a brilliant dad and just, it was amazing.
We've gone from seeing him fight the Mad Titan to going, chow time, and getting his kid to come in for lunch.
And here's the special thing they did in this movie. What happened is, in my opinion, we know Tony Stark as only about Tony Stark. When you have a kid, it unlocks something in you where all of a sudden he can't see 1 billion people go without hope. He just can't anymore. He can't just be like, I'm all about Tony Stark. That little girl unlocked something in him where he couldn't just be, I'm only worried about me and mine. He couldn't. And I was like, oh my gosh, he turned him into something else.
But I think that he tried to, Steve.
He did.
I think that's
totally
what he was
did.
definitely trying to do.
Totally did. But that girl changed him. He wasn't, because what he did was he said what Tony Stark would normally say. He just didn't feel the feelings behind the words anymore. He couldn't do it. Be like, I'm sorry, y'all are on your own pretty much. But that heart of his is now real.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't just, and even jumping forward a little bit, even when Pepper was like, could you sleep at night?
Yep.
The old Tony Stark would be like, happily, right next to you and my daughter.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
This Tony Stark with a little girl could not sleep and do. How do you look in your girl's eyes? How? She coming home every day saying, yeah, my friend's mommy, they all passed away, or all my friend's family is dead. He's like, how do you look in her eyes? Knowing that I could actually save everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great thing they did, man. It was just so smart. Because Tony without a daughter doesn't do this.
Yeah.
No way. Not a freaking chance. But he did it. It's just so special.
See, I had a little bit of a different take on it, though. Correct me if we're talking about the same thing, and maybe I'm hearing you differently. But to me, it seems like he's going to be Tony Stark inside, and he, like you said, he's not going to sleep at night. Like Pepper said, he's not going to sleep at night. He's still going to be the same Tony Stark. But on the outside, he was doing everything he could to project the opposite.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
Because when they showed up, he's like, no, I now have something to live for. I have
that's what I was saying. He talked like Tony Stark, but his feelings did not follow those.
Okay, cool.
He did the thing that Tony Stark's supposed to say.
Yeah.
But later on, his heart was like, no, we're not that guy anymore. I'm sorry. We're just not.
It's just that part of him that just, I think he felt that feeling that he had before Civil War, that, I think a lot of it was his friendship for Steve Rogers and the rest of the guys as well, where they came to him and said, look, there is a chance. It just ate away at him a little bit, didn't it? And he's kind of like, well, maybe I could look into it a little bit. He's sitting there and he figures it out. He says to Pepper,
no problem.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I've figured out time travel.
Yeah, so subtle.
And then you've got a responsibility. If you're the guy that's done that, it's like, right, great power, responsibility, all that stuff. You think, wow, okay, I've just figured it out. And then it becomes bigger than him.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just afraid to tear the scab.
Yeah.
That's
all it was.
He's been so hurt, like all of them. He's been hurt so badly.
Bingo.
All of them, the common thing here with every single character, they've all been hurt. They've all lost something or somebody, or just lost the fight.
All of these characters are at their most normal that they felt in 5 years when this goes down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, not to use it twice, but it just rips the scab off and it just makes everything raw again.
Yeah, because right now they're ready to move on with life.
Yeah.
Like this, Ant-Man changed everything. Him showing up changed everything.
Yeah.
Him coming out of that. And I love how Tony's smart because he didn't tell them what could go right. He just said, that's impossible. This could happen, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen.
Yeah.
But in his brain, they're like, yeah, but you know how to fix all those things. But he's smart enough to know everything that was wrong. They didn't know. He was like, no, it's impossible because this, and this. And later on, he's like, wait a minute. But I know how to get around every single one of those curves. And when they're like, after they left, well, while they were there, what touched me was when Tony was like, if we don't talk shop, you guys can stay for lunch.
Yeah.
He still
Table for
loves,
6.
Yeah. He still loves them.
He does.
He loves them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what he said. He says, I missed you guys. I'm happy to see you, but I don't want to talk about this right now.
Yeah, I totally get it because he's like, I'm in my woods ignoring everything that's happening. But now you've brought reality to my world again.
Yeah.
And now that he's able to fix something, he can't just go back to nothing. And again, when they left and they were like, there was another person, I didn't know who the hell they were talking about.
We need a bigger brain.
I had no idea.
My
I was
God.
like, who? I thought it was Shuri. But I was like,
No.
I saw it
she's
coming,
gone.
but I did not see what happened. Well, like how it panned out.
That was another.
Okay.
That was another moment where I very nearly stood up and shouted.
Oh my God.
That scene in the diner.
That was
I was like, no way.
One of my favorite
Oh,
scenes.
so amazing. The selfies.
There's a disturbing thing happening on the. Have you seen this? Have you seen this Twitter thing about him?
No.
Let me take a guess.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. He's Sexy Hulk. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes. What is this
I
all
figured.
about? What is this?
It's the chest hair.
People are like, he could get it. I'm like, you do realize you're talking about a Titan. All these girls is like, oh yeah, he could get it. I'm like, what?
Hulk's gonna split you in half.
That is how unrealistic. That's how unrealistic we're being compared to. I'm like, oh, that's what you're looking for. Well, then that's why I'm not getting a call back. Okay, cool. You need Hulk then. No problem. That dude. Now, how did you like the fact that because can we agree that he's different now? Not just the look. He's different.
Well, sure, because he's Professor Hulk now.
Yeah.
And he said, I spent 18 months in a gamma lab trying to figure this out. I've got the best of both worlds. I've got the brawn and the brain.
So
Put those
great.
together. He's like, how you like me now?
I love Ruffalo.
So of course he's different.
I love Mark Ruffalo so much. He's so great.
He's so good.
And
he's so good.
And the way they combined it.
Yes. And it was the way that the script was written too, John, in Infinity. Like he didn't get to really do much in that one.
No.
But he comes back and he completely redeems himself.
Oh, so good. And I'm thinking, right. So that's where the Thanos budget's gone.
Right? Yeah.
You know,
snap,
I'm like, I was like, oh, right. Okay. So they're going to put all that CGI money into the Hulk now. That's great. I'm happy with that. And then Thanos turns up later. I was like, oh, okay. We get both. This is so good.
So good.
Hulk's a hell of a dresser now too.
Oh, brilliant.
He's got style.
Oh, he's so cool, man. He's brilliant. And the whole thing where those kids come up to him.
Oh, those kids, dude. Come on.
It's so wonderful. And the Ant-Man stuff.
And the thing is,
brilliant.
they let it go about 30 seconds longer than it should have to make it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So genius.
Some good old-fashioned Family Guy awkwardness there.
I was thinking The Office, where it's just like, okay.
Even better comparison, Steve.
Yeah,
yes.
It's like, let's pull out of this now.
Yeah.
Nope. You're going to sit here and sit in it for a while.
Like, come on. He wants you to take a picture with him. No, we don't want to. Come on. You know you do. You want him to, right? He's like, no, I don't want to. Just take the goddamn phone, he tells him.
So good, Doug. It was so funny. And and the thing is, I love seeing how it is totally Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
He's so chill and has this drunk high way about him. Come on, guys. Like he's that chill guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it. And the fact that he was just like no one believes this can happen. They're just not buying it, but they're like, hey, might as well try. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, that is the Avengers, where they're just like, yeah, it probably won't work, but who are we if we don't try? Even though Tony said no.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, well then we'll just try it our best then. Come on.
It's not a bad trade-off. If you have to trade off somebody, he's the guy you want.
Yes, but they all know they're going for second best in this.
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, if you can get the package deal, fantastic. But they have to do whatever they can in a short amount of time to try and get this figured out. So yeah, it was the logical choice.
It's not my area of expertise. That's what he said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. But another thing as well, and something that the film gets right the whole way through, is the balance between the drama and the heartbreak and the humor. It was perfectly weighted.
For sure.
We've gone you go from one really harrowing moment to another one where you're just laughing. And it was just so beautifully put together from that point of view as well. Emotional beats were just spot on the whole way through.
Yeah, didn't feel gratuitous at any point.
No.
It was just it was perfectly done.
It was just when you needed to laugh, you were able to, you know, and then you could be serious again, and it was just so well punctuated. It was amazing.
And they can do that from time to time too in these Marvel movies, where they might add a little too much humor where it shouldn't be there. But in this one, they didn't really have that. I think it was just I think that they spent a lot of time asking themselves as they're writing this, how would these people really be feeling if this was going on?
Yeah.
Not just let's make a superhero movie and have them fix the problem.
Yeah.
How would they be?
Yeah.
You literally just hit the nail on the head, Dan. That was probably if you put it in a paragraph what this movie was, it wouldn't be a battle movie. It would be, how would these people react in real life, real time to what has happened to them?
Yeah.
That's what the movie is.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, man.
It's
I think that's what
beautiful.
made it so special. Not to mention all the CGI and the fantastic battles and blah,
Yes.
blah, 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 blah. But they really humanized these people.
Dude.
And gave them like a...
Yes.
They dove into their feelings, man. I can't
So
commend
smart.
them enough for
That's
that.
the thing, man.
That
It's a superhuman film. It was super and it was human.
Nicely, Dan.
You know
Oh,
what I mean?
come on, Dan. We got to applaud him. Bucks,
I'm
I
with it.
see what you just did there. I see what you just did there.
But it was, isn't it? It's exactly...
Superhuman.
Do you know what I mean? It really was everything about humanity.
That's
you know,
true.
it
It's true.
explored all aspects of it.
And the thing is, here's the funny part. I do believe if anyone is the most superhero, it's Captain America, because all it did was the thing that got amplified the most is his belief and hope. That's what in that machine got amplified more than his muscles.
Ah,
His belief.
yeah,
He really believed now.
yeah,
He's like, anything is possible.
yeah.
Nothing's impossible. And I'm like, oh, that's your superpower. You will never, ever get. Let me tell you something. If it didn't work this time, Steve Rogers would have tried it again and again and again and again and again until he brought those people back.
Yeah, you can do it all day.
He wouldn't. All, like he says, yeah, exactly. I could do this all. And you know what? That is such a great quote by him because that applies to everything he does.
Yeah.
I can do this all day.
Yeah.
And he hopes all day. He fights all day. He believes all day. Nothing you can do is going to take that away from me. You can beat me up. You can destroy me. You can take away my shield, but I can get up and still have that hope thing going. I still believe it.
You could just take Captain America's arc from this film just on its own, and it would be a brilliant movie.
For real.
You could take Tony Stark's story from this film.
Yes.
And it would be a brilliant movie.
There's like 6 or 7 movies in this movie.
You could take Thor's story. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, you're right.
It's and all the characters. This is one of the things that's just completely blowing my mind about that film. Is that it is, yes, like you say, it's so many complete stories that would be more than enough for their own movie, all at the same time. It's unbelievable.
And the fact that we weren't just like, wait, whatever happened to, we felt like we were in it, everyone's story, every second.
Yeah.
And they perfectly, whoever did the editing in this movie deserves an award. They were able to just bounce all over the place. And you're just like, oh, yeah, that's right. We still have Thor. We have this and we have that. When they went into different realms to get the stones, do you know how much of a terrible situation that could have been in the editing room? If they did that wrong, it would have fallen apart right then. Everything falls apart. It's too jumpy. We're all going to complain about it got too confusing. It's just this mess of a movie. They kept it streaming along.
Plus time travel.
Oh my gosh, man.
We're only in the hour 1, aren't we? I think we're just about at the end of the first.
We're about 40 minutes into the
Yeah,
movie.
we're coming up to like the end of Act 1.
It's just
It hasn't even kicked off yet.
No, not even close.
And that's the thing, is that it was probably one of the slower beginnings, slower act ones of a Marvel movie, but they needed to do this. They had to.
Then they start jamming. Oh,
man.
Oh, they totally make up for it. There was no need to actually make up for it, but I think that this first act had to be this way. And I think I've read some things where people were a little, because you're always going to piss off some fanboy or something like that. But I think that this was absolutely necessary to show you the stakes that involved and just how important this is to them, because they all experienced the same event, but they all took their own separate journeys over those 5 years.
Because you notice when they were doing the testing on Scott Lang, and it was messing up.
That's hilarious.
And they brought him back. Notice everybody's frustrated, but only one person has to leave to gather himself. He's shouldering it so much, dude. He just walks outside and it's just like, how are we going to do this? And in the nick of time, he hears he like that, Dan? He hears he hears that freaking that engine. And I was like, yes! Because there's times where it's just like, how much can Steve Rogers shoulder?
Yeah.
How much can he shoulder, man? It's like, this didn't work. And in his brain, I'm sure it was the last ditch, but he can't let everyone see that. Because everybody's like, oh, well, that was close, but he walks out. And he's like, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What does Steve Rogers do if Tony doesn't come out? It doesn't matter because Tony does come, because that's what happens when you believe. Steve Rogers just believed. Yeah.
If I can really quick go back just a second, because I think it's important. Did anyone else feel that it was the picture? Do you remember when Tony's doing the dishes in his cabin and he sees that picture of him and Peter? I felt like that was the point where he's like, okay, if I can't do it for all these other reasons, I'm responsible for the death of this beautiful 15-year-old human being that was so bright and had the future in front of him. And he loved it.
Yeah, he did.
He loved him.
He really did.
But the thing is, for me, I'm like, the old Tony, if he liked something else more, he's doing that.
I could see that.
And he loves his daughter more. That wins. Because, hey, it's mine.
Well, I was going to say, I think that he actually associated Peter with his daughter. It was that youth, that lost youth. And I think that's what did it.
Paternal as well to Peter. He really did feel like, he had
it was like a practice run for him.
He had a very paternal relationship with him.
He really did. That's
I think that was
true.
enough. It was enough of a seed to at least get him to explore the possibility.
Oh, you're hitting the nail on the hand, on the head, Dan, for sure. Because, how did you guys like the whole? He comes out, he starts speed talking, and he's just like, he's doing the Tony Stark thing, and he's like, did he turn into a baby? Genius, genius. Do you know how smart you have to be to be like, oh,
he's like, don't feel bad. Let me guess, he turned into a baby.
It was so smart for him to be like, it's because you're putting time through him.
Yeah.
You're not putting him through time. I was like, oh, Tony.
Really brilliant.
He's so smart, dude.
What did you think about the scene where he actually discovered time travel? I thought that was a great scene with his daughter sitting on the staircase, and he sits back and he says, shit.
Yeah.
And his daughter's like, shit.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really cute, and
that was amazing.
Humanized him even more.
Brilliant.
I loved it, sort of. But I was like, that was the only one that I kind of was like, okay, that was kind of it's a Marvel thing. Fine. I don't mind it, but it was just like, I knew, you kind of know, okay, they're going to do this thing and do some numbers and it's going to work. And I was like, I'm sure there was another way to do that. I don't know what the way was, but that is a very, like, okay, we have to show this scene so that they could see that it worked.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
and I just think they did it really well. I love the way that when he saw it, actually, the model was built, how it dropped him into his chair. And he's like, oh my God, I figured it out.
That eureka moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it had some weight.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it totally did. I think if he was looking in the stars or reading a paper and he dropped whatever he was doing and made that face, I'd be like, he figured it out. Because he's just that smart. There's nothing, but I just didn't think that he was going to help. I thought he might. But I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel was just like, Tony's not in until it's perfect. He's not going to do it. He has a daughter now. And they just leave Tony out and maybe he comes at the ending battle. I would not have been surprised.
Is that what you were thinking was going to happen?
I wouldn't have been surprised if it happened because I was like, when you introduce a daughter, everything changes. Everything is on. When that daughter came out of the tent, I was like, oh, I'm not going nowhere. You better ask somebody. I don't care how many billions of people. I'm not leaving my daughter. Not a chance. And he's, unbeknownst to him, has always wanted to be a father. I mean, after Spider-Man especially, he's like, I want to be a dad. I don't know if he was going to come. I really didn't. I didn't know. And he did, but dang, leaving your daughter, dog? Jeez Louise. I couldn't imagine. I know like Bucks and you both have daughters. I don't. And I know both of y'all would have second thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
I could say 100% that the birth of my daughter changed my whole outlook on life.
Yeah.
I had been before, but I just, it's a son. It's a little bit different. I can't explain it any better than that. But yes, here's a good example. We used to walk by in Target, right? Mm-hmm. And we'd see like the kids' clothes, and my wife would be like, "Oh, look at that little cute little outfit. It's pink." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna go look at the electronics or something." Yes. But the moment my daughter was born, I'm like, "Hey, look at this, and look what she could be wearing." It totally changes you. If you're doing it right, in my opinion, it changes you.
Yes, and you, with 1 billion people dead, that would still be a tough sell to leave your daughter. Mm-hmm. I don't care if I figured out how to literally snap my finger and Thanos disappears, but all I have to do is battle for an hour. I'm like, oh, but in that hour, I could not see my daughter again? No, I'm not doing it. And so that's why I thought he might not come, because I put myself in Tony's position. And I was like, I wouldn't go. I just can't. But he did. He's a better person, I guess. I would have stayed with my daughter. My son. I would have stayed with my son. No question.
Yeah, Maj is listening like, what the hell, Dad?
Come on.
Exactly. Like, what, you wouldn't stay with me? But I love, like you said, like, that's a very important situation where he figures it out and then immediately has to look at his daughter. Ugh.
A little reminder.
I'm never going to go.
Are you sure you want to do this? Is
No,
what they
I
were
don't.
saying.
Not a chance. You better ask somebody.
But want to, have to.
I would drive the thing there, holla at my boy, and be like, here's all the equipment. I'll peace out.
Stark Tech's pretty sturdy. He could just have thrown it out the window or something.
Exactly. And been like, I put it on a timer so that it will work perfectly.
When it works.
Yes, and it would by itself. But Tony was like, you need me. I'm like, damn. But did you see the trade-off?
How so?
You can't be Steve Rogers anymore. That was the trade. If I'm coming back, you have to be Captain America. That's a tough trade. He gave him the shield. And he's like, I don't know about this. Yeah. He's like, if I'm coming in here, you can't be Steve Rogers. Yeah. That's a hell of a trade.
I also took it as kind of like a final olive branch, too.
Yeah, totally.
That's
like
true.
We've gone through so much shit.
Yes.
I took this from you because I didn't feel it belonged to you. It belonged to my father because he created it. But you know what? This is yours. You need this.
And he didn't want it. Like Steve Rogers was like,
Yeah, well, he dropped it, didn't he? He just left it at Civil War. He just left it on the floor.
Bingo.
Yeah.
He's like, I got these dope ass Wakandan arm shields now.
There we go.
I need it.
And so, I might be totally wrong though, because it's just in my brain, it felt like if I'm coming, I'm only being led by Captain America. I'm not being led by Steve Rogers. So you have to take the shield.
It was like get the band back together vibe, wasn't it? It was like,
yes,
let's fucking do it.
If we're going to be like, if I'm joining this again, Freddie Mercury's not playing guitar. I need you with a microphone in your hand. Period. And he's like, okay, if that's what takes you to come, and that's when we start seeing him come. He's Captain America again. He's Captain America again. It's such a good movie, guys. Damn.
Is anyone else impressed with the little time it takes to create these massive devices? I mean, we had a time machine built. No. And I'm not even coming from a sarcastic
I know, but you do know that's ridiculous.
It's one of that is definitely a suspension of disbelief moment that these films have. You have to assume that no time has passed yet. Whatever Tony has in his labs is able to create this massive, important, most advanced technological equipment on the face of the earth within a matter of days, weeks. I'm not entirely sure. It's one of those things that you do ignore, but I was just thinking about that when I was watching it for the second time. I'm like, I wonder how long it took to build that. Well, pretty fucking impressive.
Well, maybe he built a little one and then was able to use it to build it fast.
Maybe it's the use of this nanotechnology that forms so quickly.
Well,
I don't know, because he's big on nanotechnology now.
You can just put Stark Tech, can't you?
Pretty much.
It's like a sort of, he Starked it. It's fine. He's probably got like 100 robots working on it or something.
That could be an official verb. You Starked it. I like it.
That's Stark, exactly. And I love the nanotechnology. I love that it just morphs around someone's arm. I'm like, yeah, give me that. It makes way more sense than this other bull crap where you have to be like, let me get your measurements. No. How about we just form it around wherever it touches? I'm okay with that. I like when Stark can just like, even Black Panther, where you could just be like, okay, I press a button and the suit comes on. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, don't be such a purist, man. This is the future.
Yeah, you know how hard it would be to put that suit on? Hell no, man. Let me
yeah.
Because it went, we saw the evolution from, the cave to the actual Iron Man suit. Then we saw the suit where he can walk and the machines put it on as he's walking. And we get a suitcase suit. I'm like, oh, let's go. And now we're at the level where he could just he can have a suit on and press a button and it just covers him.
Yeah, he walks around a corner and it's all gone.
I'm okay with it. I love nanotech.
I don't have a problem with it. I think a lot of people did. I've heard a lot about that. About people kind of complaining about the nanotechnology, but it's like, just enjoy the movie.
Really?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Just enjoy it.
You don't mind that there's a Titan, a mad Titan traveling through time.
Yeah.
The talking raccoon guy.
This technology is absurd.
You don't mind the talking rabbit? The talking rabbit? You don't mind?
Yeah.
Come here, rabbit.
Oh, I loved it when he called him a Build-A-Bear too. That was hilarious.
Come on.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought you were.
Up until now, I thought you were a Build-A-Bear.
That is so freaking funny. And you know what? I'm about to do some heresy. I think Bradley Cooper has made him a bigger star than Quill.
I can buy that.
He certainly was in this film.
I think it's going to travel into other films. I think Bradley Cooper has done such a great job with Rocket that he is a better thing to watch. I will watch Rocket and Thor before I ever watch Gamora and Quill. If there were two movies showing, I'm going to the Thor and the Rocket.
Yeah, I think.
No question.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing.
Who would have seen that coming? A very telling scene happens. A quick moment where we saw Hulk be Hulk for a second. Do you remember that? When he's sitting there and he's like Thanos and he grabs him by the shirt.
Yes,
like,
that was a great scene.
And Hulk said, get your hands.
Yeah.
He said, get your hands off.
I'm going to say this one time.
I said,
yeah, Steve, I'm glad you brought that up, man. Because just this last time, I was like, ooh, that's good.
I said, wait a minute. He was about to be like, you got about 3 more seconds. And I'm going to become all types of Hulk. And that we saw what happened last time.
Yeah, it's not like we've never fought before.
Exactly. But truthfully, we saw what happened when Thor got his lightning groove too. Now he has it on recall if he wants it. So that would be a good fight. But we saw that Hulk is not he's like, I'm not good with people putting their hands on me. It's not my thing really. And so I think that is they don't drop that scene in for no reason. That is a thing to come. There is a war going on inside Hulk's brain where he's like, hey, get your hands off me.
That's it.
It's not something Bruce Banner would say. Get your hands off me?
Oh, yeah.
That's the Hulk.
I mean, it's like he's already transformed and everything.
Yeah.
That's his permanent image now.
Yeah.
But it was a nice little throwback to the 80s. It was almost like a Mr. McGee, don't make me angry.
Yeah.
You don't want to make me angry.
Yeah.
Don't make me. And I do believe there's going to be a battle between Bruce Banner and Hulk soon. Because there's only so long he can keep it. Well, we all know there's only so long he can keep it under wraps. But still, we saw a little peek out and I'm like, oh, the Russo brothers.
Let me ask you something, Steve. On that note, do we know if they're coming back for any movies in the future? Because I know for a fact that it's Chris Evans so far, and for other reasons, Robert Downey Jr. But have they made any other statements in the public about whether anyone else is coming back? I know that that Phase 4 and the future of the MCU is kind of uncertain right now, even though it's going forward.
I know Black Widow has a solo. And I guess it's going to have to be a prequel, right?
One would think so.
You said one would think. But now that we saw Gamora, I don't know. I don't know now that we saw her.
Well, they got time travel.
Anything's possible. But I'm
not doubting anything anymore. They can do whatever they want, and I'm sure they'll do fantastic.
Who knows? And so I don't know. You remember they've been trying to get the Hulk solo off for a long time, and they just gave up. I don't know why they gave up. And I know that Marvel wants to do it right. They want to do it right. And if they don't have the right script, they will just pass. They won't just put it up on screen. They won't do it. So if they don't get the right script, we may never see a Hulk movie. But I think Hulk World would be a fantastic movie. We saw a glimpse of it in Thor.
Well, yeah, the Planet Hulk thing that they combined into Ragnarok. Yeah.
I mean, Planet Hulk,
I think that's the best way to do Hulk, though. I think with another character or as part of a team. Yeah.
You think they could do it like there? Like as in like when before Thor got there, they can just show what he had been doing up to that point?
Yeah, it's like I think he's a difficult character to carry a whole film on his own. I think he works better as part of a like Ragnarok was amazing, like that buddy movie kind of vibe with those two. It was kind of like a shared headline as far as I was concerned. Really, it was the Thor and Hulk movie, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think personally, I think he works more effectively when he's got another character to sort of bounce off or to be compared to give him a bit more of a context.
And that's hard because there's who.
Well, I think with Ruffalo in the role, it because he's got such a lovely sort of vibe about him.
Oh man, I could watch him.
And he's such a good comedian as well. He reacts so well to the people around him. Because a lot of his stuff is in reaction, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
You know, someone will say something and it'll be his reaction that you want to see. He's so good at that.
Yes. I agree.
So I think they nailed it really when he became they incorporated Hulk into the Avengers and then in the Ragnarok thing. I think he probably, if they got the right script, then it could work as a standalone Hulk thing. But I don't know. My feeling is he kind of works better as with other characters in amongst it.
Yeah, I can get behind that too.
I agree.
It's such a shame that we had an Edward Norton movie,
which wasn't bad.
No, but if it was a Ruffalo origin story, that's where it's at, gentlemen. I really wish that we could have got that. It's one of those things that I know we won't, but I tend to agree with Johnny that I think that he does a lot better in a team setting than a solo setting.
Was it the Ruffalo one was it the Edward Norton one that we saw Nick Fury? That's crazy.
Well, Fury didn't come out for that Ang Lee disaster.
No, he came out for, it's so weird that they were like,
I quite like that film.
Did you really?
I like the pit bullfight.
I thought it was a little too over the top.
There's a lot about that film I really like. It's like me and like one of my friends in the whole world. That actually quite.
Oh yeah, I can't. I watched it. Have you watched it recently, G?
No, it's been a while.
Oh, you might want to do that. It's rough.
Yeah, I don't think I will though, because it was.
Yeah, if it's sitting pretty in your heart, keep it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
But the pit bull fight plays. It plays because there's also a part where they're shining lights into the tree. That is a very scary scene to see a monstrous Hulk thing in a spotlight. You're like, oh my God, that's pretty scary. That's effective. And it was hard to do at the time. That's a really good effect. But after that, it kind of falls apart.
Yeah, I didn't like the Norton one, but I actually prefer the Ang Lee one. Yeah.
I could watch Ed Norton doing anything though.
Well, I don't know what it was about that one. It wasn't a bad movie. It just didn't hit me like the other ones did. And I don't know, because I don't know what the story is, why he wasn't in the rest of the movies. I assume I've heard he's difficult to work with.
He likes to arrange his own script. He likes to rewrite scripts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I just don't think it was the right chemistry. There's a reason he's not there, but Ruffalo fits so well.
He's perfect. And also when he's hulked up, he's got the right face when he becomes Hulk.
Exactly. And
yes.
Isn't there some sort of fight going on between like the Hulk property? There's like some weird thing happening with that.
That I'm not sure of.
Yeah, there was an article of why we will never get a Hulk film. It's some drama happening. I don't know. I didn't read the article, as you can see. But I was like, but if Marvel owns it enough to do the Avengers, I guess there's some sort of legal thing where it's different for a solo movie? I don't know. I was like, I
think you hit the nail on the head, dude. If they have a script that they can sell and it's going to work, they're going to make this movie. May not be an origin movie, which I don't think will happen now anyway.
We don't need it anyway, yeah.
But we don't. We absolutely don't need it. No. But I think that they could do a good solo Hulk movie if it has to be the right people. Let's bring the Russo brothers back again, man. Or Taika, for that matter.
Oh, Taika would be. But I really want Taika doing Thor. I want him in charge of. I wouldn't mind him doing Guardians. I really wouldn't, dude. Even though we're getting Homeboy back, I get it. But I wouldn't mind seeing what Taika does to the Guardians. I really don't. Now that Thor's on the ship, I want to see that movie.
as Guardians of
Yes.
the Galaxy.
It needs to be called that, man. It'd be so great.
That would be great.
That was brilliant.
That would be great. And if they do that, I would say, but they're not going to. They really want Homie back. They don't want anyone touching Guardians except for him.
Well, James Gunn does it so well. Why would you want anyone else to do it?
Yeah. Just if it ain't broke.
Yes. And Taika created the new Thor. He's Taika's Thor from now on. That's who he is. He's Taika's Thor. And now that you have it on, like, literally, it's on autopilot now. I think, like, I do believe that Hemsworth has him pegged. Like, he can actually just do Thor out of the blue. So I don't think it's going to be like, I need Taika to direct me. He's like, no, now I get Thor. I get it now. I can just do that. And I love the new Thor. But again, yeah, you're going back to what you were saying. I would like a Hulk movie, but in this movie, he was perfect. I mean, he didn't do battle, but he was perfect for what he was used for.
He was great.
We didn't see him tossing like massive rocks all over the place, which would have been nice.
Oh, well, he threw a few things around, didn't he? When they went back to New York.
He was like, "Rawr, arg,
arg, arg."
Dude, that was so funny.
Brilliant.
He's like, it seems a little gratuitous, but whatever.
Yeah. Now, I would love to do scene by scene, but we'd be here till 8 in the morning, or till 8
Totally,
at night.
right.
So,
Yeah.
tell me from you fellas, what's the next thing in your brain that made a huge impact? Because I could just go through everything that meant something to me. But I was like, okay, but let's go through huge impacts for you as we go through the rest of this film. Because it starts jamming. What really stuck out to y'all going forward from the time machine failure to start coming in, hooking it up, and then them getting ready to actually split ways and go? Anything jump out from that point on?
Oh,
I know.
when they went back to New York. Oh God, the whole thing. That's a whole movie within the movie again. Where,
That's why I was like, we need to.
You could have had a movie based on the time heist alone.
And
just that, yeah. When you've got Stark undercover as a security guy, and you see Loki's arrest and all that stuff going on.
Dude.
Oh, just
It was
seeing those other movies from a different angle. Captain America fighting himself.
It was so, and the thing, what I love is we know now that Loki knows stuff that he didn't say he knew. He saw something weird happening. Yeah, he saw it all. He was like, oh, we got time travelers around here. Which doesn't, it wouldn't shock him. But I love how when they first get dropped into New York, they're like, whoa, what? It doesn't even phase Cap. He's like, all right, we're going to meet back here at this time. I was like, wow, nothing. He's like, we got it. He's only focused on one thing.
Well, he's already time traveled, hasn't he?
He's just like, I was dead for 70 years.
Yeah,
Y'all better catch up. He's like, let's handle this business. And he's like, oh, Hulk, you may want to smash some things.
Yeah. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Dude.
Yeah, he had that look on his face, like he kind of face.
Well, he said, it seems gratuitous. He's like, it seems gratuitous. I was like, that's so funny.
It's like watching yourself drunk on video or something like that.
He's like, ugh. But here's what I love. When she meets, what's the woman's name on the top of the building?
Oh, the ancient one.
Yes. When she immediately is like, you're in the wrong. I said, oh, this woman's no joke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was great to see her back.
She's like, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah. Tilda Swinton, man.
Dude.
It's amazing. She's so good.
That little interaction they were having, I know they went to other scenes in between this, but as a one shot, imagining it as a one shot where she's just like, he's like, look, I'm going to have to take it from you. She's like, I don't think you'd want to do that though. That's real.
And she does the whole astral punch on him.
Dude.
So then we get Ruffalo walking around being Ruffalo for a little while, which was nice.
And the fact that she knew, like for me, if I'm walking and I'm telling him, I'm like, nope, I'm not giving you another time stone. He's like, well, why did your homie give it up? I'd say he's lying. She knew he wasn't lying.
She was like, oh.
She's like, he gave it away? She knew he was not lying. It all connected to her. He's like, oh, this makes sense. It was so important, bruh. Because she had to believe him in order for this to work. And there was something about him that was like, he's not lying. Doctor Strange gave it away. So good. Because, I mean, me thinking about the Ancient One, I would have think she would be like, prove it. Show me then. I don't believe that happened. But there was no second guessing him. She was just like, wait, what? Yeah, he gave it away. And then she immediately gives it to him. I said, well, that was simpler than I thought it was going to be.
Well, because he says we can bring it back like it never went away.
And she has to trust that.
You know what I mean? We'll return it back like you'll never know it's gone.
And who knows if he's telling she just has to be like, I mean, I have to trust Doctor Strange's vision.
Right.
I have to trust that he knew that this was the right thing to do. I have to.
Yeah.
And she's clearly got a vision of what's going on in the future anyway, because she tells him you're too early.
Yes.
Like he's doing his thing. He's doing surgery up the street.
Yes.
So she knows things are coming.
Yes. But
if Stephen Strange can go through it and see the 14 million different scenarios, she's the ancient one. She's got to be able to do something in that capacity.
But she was looking at the wrong scenario because she said, or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
She was looking at the wrong string. I said, oh, that's crazy. Like there was so many, but it kept moving so fast. I didn't get a chance to like sit in the, oh my God moments. I'm gonna have to wait to get it on DVD to push pause and be like, yo, that's crazy.
Steve.
Yo.
Question for you. Now, I think the listeners know you said it many times on the show. You don't usually watch movies twice.
I do not.
Will you watch this movie again?
I am going to watch this movie. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go past into the 5 years later. That's where I'm going to start this movie.
You're so weird.
Because for me, that's where it starts for me.
Yeah.
It starts there where he's giving the, hey.
You're not a completist. You're okay.
No, I'm okay. Because I don't need to know that. I need to go. As a matter of fact, I'd go there and then I'd skip past Hawkeye in Tokyo. Oh, I already have it in my, I'm skipping a lot of stuff.
We know Steve likes to get stuff done quick,
I'm
right?
done with you, Johnny.
That's true.
I'm done with Johnny.
You can cut it back.
You
can cut the time.
With Johnny.
You're on Hudson time.
That's okay. Oh, that's okay. All right, y'all. Laugh it up.
Hey, man, you said it, not us.
I did say it. You're right. I did say the ride to the sunset thing. So, I mean, what am I going to do?
Oh, my God. That was one of the best things.
I remember when Johnny sent me, he said, sunset what? That was so funny. But yeah. Oh, Johnny, are you going to watch this from the beginning all the way to the end again?
Yeah.
Wow.
As am I, multiple times.
No.
Hopefully there's extra additional scenes that they can put in to make it even longer.
Well, here's the thing. I hope they do the Mission Impossible thing where they literally are shooting behind the scenes stuff. Where it's like, this is how we did this thing. I would love to see that. I would love to see the Russo brothers breaking it down, but not many films do the Mission Impossible thing. And I think the only reason the Mission Impossible does it because Tom Cruise wants to show you that he's doing stuff. So he wants people to film him doing things. I don't think that's how Marvel works, but they should.
I remember you saying about your son, Steve, about how he doesn't like to look at
he hates it
behind the scenes stuff. And I'm becoming a bit more like that, actually.
Really?
Yeah. With certain things, I've noticed just sort of in recent years watching the making of stuff, it's kind of took a little bit away from the magic. And I kind of, with this one, I don't want to see what went on behind the scenes. Yeah, I want to keep it as it is. So that the next time I watch it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember seeing all that was blue screen or whatever, or green screen, or do you know what I mean? They've done it so well, and the seams between stuff now, you can't tell that's a backdrop anymore. You can't tell that that's CGI and that's real, and they've done it so well. I kind of think, well, I just want to keep it as it is. So every time I watch it, it's just going to be transporting me to that moment, that place.
Now, would you at least listen to a director's commentary?
Yeah, I think that would be something that I'm probably still okay with, but I find increasingly so because the illusion now is so good. It's more of a schism when it gets punctured.
You're so right. Yeah, if I saw Josh Brolin sitting down next to an armor
with all little dots all over his face,
I'd be like, oh man.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of starting to lean more that way.
I could get that. So, Dan, you kind of agree? You'd be like, I would rather.
No, I can appreciate it. I totally get that. But much like a gearhead wants to lift up the hood and look into the engine and see what makes it go, I'm very much that way too. So I'm actually the opposite. I want to see it from concept. Right when they sat down and said, "How are we going to do this?" I want to see storyboards. I want to see the discussions. I want to see the outtakes. I want it all.
I think there's only one set I want to see, and that's the Dark World thing. Or what was the name of that place? The where the Soul Stone is.
More. Oh Jesus! Why am I forgetting right now?
Well, that planet. I want to see that set when they were up on top discussing who's going to die. That thing. I was like, wow, that is the best. Like, it looks like they are on that planet. It didn't look, for some reason, CGI to me. It looked like they found a desolated planet and placed these people on the top of this mountain. It was crisp, clean. I said, this is how you do a movie. It was so big, G. It was so monstrous that they were just these two little people on the top of this mountain being like, so who's going to jump? I said, this is an effective freaking scene. I loved that scene. But that's the only thing I would watch on the
Boromir.
Oh, there it goes.
It was driving me crazy.
That's the only thing I'd watch. I'd only want to watch how did they composite that and make it so that it looked, because black, dark rock can look super like, oh, come on. It looked great. Yeah. In the dark, it still popped. That's hard to do. And so I want to see how they did that. That's it, though. Everything else, I kind of have an idea on how they did it. And I wouldn't need to see it, but I want to hear the director's commentary, like saying, we took this shot 15, 20 times because we wanted to see how many different things he could call that person. Like something like that. Or like, I wanted to see how many times Paul Rudd could describe time travel in a different way. I want to hear that stuff. But like, I would love to see that. I would love to hear that story because, the behind the scenes is fun, but only tangentially, kind of like, okay, well, let me see enough, but I don't need to see, like you said, the dots on somebody's face or anything. But I would like to see them saying this scene almost didn't make it and being like, what? That scene almost didn't make it? Because there are scenes, this movie probably could be 5 hours and they just had to chop away at awesome scenes over and over again. That's crazy.
Something that we need to get to, I think. I know that we're not going to just break the entire movie down, and we were heading that way. But I think that we have to touch on this because you were asking scenes that I think are key, or that we think are key. And the next scene that we were just about to talk about is totally one of those scenes, and it's when we see New Asgard. That's super important right there because now we've seen where the refugees have gone. They're somewhere in Norway and they've created New Asgard. Mm-hmm. But just like everyone else that we've been talking about so far, now we see what 5 years has done to Thor. And probably more than anyone, it's affected him, right?
Yes.
Oh, man, incredible.
Yes.
He's gone back to his ways of just being a heavy drunk, and I guess the metabolism slowed down, maybe? I don't know what's
I don't know how, because he's always
I think
drunk.
he's drinking them IPAs, man, because them IPAs will do it to you.
That's what it is.
I'm living proof.
Yeah.
But also we get introduced to a new, a Thor of the comics, a chubbier Thor. Even though it's normally when he's older, I think they're kind of mixing the two together. There's
the Odin thing going on as well with him, isn't
there?
It's like it's becoming the All-Father kind of
totally
with the
braided beard. Yeah. That's really cool, actually.
But my favorite cameo of the whole movie is in this scene.
Oh, me too, man. So great. Hey, man.
Hey, mate.
Taika got
that bloke's back again. Yeah. That kid's back again.
What was the name? It was Noob Master 69.
Dude.
He's all, Noob Master 69. If I see you on here one more time, I'm going to rip off your arms and shove them up your butt.
And he's like, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
He goes, oh, yeah, go ahead and cry. Little kid. Just scary as a little kid. This is the God of Thunder. So funny.
So great. It was a great scene.
They're playing Fortnite in 2023.
Yeah.
It's so good, dude. They nailed the fact that Chris Hemsworth went from drunk, silly to immediately when he heard that name, everything changed. Mm-hmm. You brought him into my house now. You brought just like he did just like Cap did to Iron Man. You brought reality to where I was trying to escape reality. You did it to me now.
Yeah.
And he
Even
reacted.
Korg's like, oh yeah, we don't speak that name.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, look, and I loved how the Hulk was like, when I was in your when I was in your mindset, you helped me. So it's my job to help you.
Plus there's beer on the ship.
You know, exactly. He's like, what
kind?
That's a Dan. That's a Dan question.
Total beer snob.
What kind?
Because Rocket's going to understand how to motivate somebody like that because he's a little like that himself, isn't he?
Yes. Yes.
You know, cynical and like done with everything, doesn't really want to be, you know, he's always looking for the easy way.
And they're becoming very
So
close. Good. Like Rocket and Thor are becoming very close. Like closer than, like, I don't think they can make Quill and Rocket buddies like Thor and Rocket anymore.
No, that's the buddy movie I want to see.
Thor and Rocket?
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, dude. All day. That's what I do. That's what I'm saying. I think he outgrew Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he outgrew it. I would watch a Rocket movie.
No doubt. I mean, I think he has his place. I think he's one of the key characters in Guardians that makes it what it is. But I'm totally down with just a one-off.
Oh, dude. And I don't, but I'm one of the few that now, unfortunately for me, for some reason, Chris Pratt is losing his thing. I don't know what the thing was he had, but I'm just like, I'm kind of over it, G.
I don't know if I'm as far as over it, but I can totally see what you're talking about.
I don't know what happened. What do you think happened? Nothing changed. I'm just like,
Nothing's changed, you're right, but could it just be possible, for lack of a better term, overexposure?
I didn't think of that.
We got so much Chris Pratt all at once.
I did.
And people are, I'm not one of those people, but people are still pissed off at Quill for what they think he did.
No,
it's me neither. But I think it really could be just a good old fashioned case of overexposure.
So you think Chris Hemsworth is doing the thing where you're not going to see me a lot. You're going to see me sometimes. He's doing the smart thing because I'm sure if he wanted to work every month, Chris Hemsworth can work every month.
That all depends, man. We're going to get the Men in Black coming out pretty soon.
That looks so bad.
It looks better than it should. Has any business looking.
I think it looks dreadful.
I'm with Johnny on this one. I don't think it's looking very good.
I saw the trailer for it. I was like, this is bad.
Mark your words, people.
Yell it out, Steve, so it's so. Make it so.
Saying when they get together on that screen, watch. You're going to be like, okay.
Yell timestamp, Steve. Make it happen.
Make it watch. It's going to happen. But I love that, like, with Thor, there is a lot of possibilities throughout this movie. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought when the lightning hit him, all of a sudden we're going to see old Thor again. I really did. I said, somehow the lightning's going to make him ripped.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah, I was too.
Wrong
I thought
again.
he looked awesome, though.
I thought he looked great.
But how brilliant that they didn't do that.
I loved that they didn't do that. Now, I'm one of the few that when everybody's getting the stones and trying to get the stones, I loved that part. But it wasn't my favorite. I just thought it was really fun. I was like, oh, this is fun. This is really cool. I just thought that it took such a brilliant movie to make that fun. I was more impressed with they're following all these storylines and I'm not getting bored. That's hard to do, dude. I was like,
incredible.
They all got their things. They missed one, but they all got their things. Now, the big one for me was Natasha and Hawkeye. That was the big one. Where I was like, my God.
That was heavy. That was so heavy.
And as the audience, something has to happen. You know it's coming.
Of course.
You just don't know how they're going to do it.
But in those 2 minutes, you become resigned. Oh, no, someone's going to die. Oh, crap, Hawkeye's going to die. That sucks. But I get it because he's gone through a lot having he lost his family. He has nothing to live for. So we become resigned to the fact Hawkeye's going to die that quick. They make you do it.
Yeah.
And
it's when he says, "You know what I've done."
Bingo. We're like,
you think, right? Okay, yep, all right, yep, that makes sense.
And then they're like, "Oh, you silly gooses!" And they got me. They totally got me. When they were going back and forth, I still was like, "Oh, but I know who's going to ultimately fall." That is insane.
Let's talk about that for just a second. Out of your personal Deadpool, if you will, who did you think was going to go? Did you see Natasha going?
No.
Nor did I.
No, I thought Cap and Iron Man.
Yeah, me too. I was staying pretty basic with it.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Get one of those answers.
it totally makes sense. And here's the hard part. When Natasha was like, let me go. Oh, she was just ready. She's done. She's done. She's like, if I go, we win.
Yeah, it was a whatever it takes moment. I don't think she really wanted to do it. She just knew she had to.
Bingo.
And she knew that he had a family he could go back to. She didn't.
Exactly.
She didn't even know her parents.
Yeah. And she knew she could never have a family too, from what we learned about her in the last film.
Right.
And what had been done to her.
And the hard thing is, when they were going there, I should have seen it coming. Because he's like, it's a long way from Budapest, huh? I was like, oh, they're doing the thing. They're bonding. What's happening here? But I didn't even think about it. I was like, hey, a long way from Budapest. It's hilarious. I wasn't even thinking about it. And then when they got there, I should have known, oh, someone's going to have to die. But I love how they didn't make it a sad thing. They just sat down and was like, all right, someone has to die. Well, we know who it's going to be. And, I just loved how they just like, these two warriors are way matter of fact about death. Like, I guess it's got to be me. Nah, it's got to be me. Nah, I probably got to go. I'm like, that is a warrior right there. Everyone else would make it like a really cryy moment, but they were so matter of fact. Because death it does scare them, but they won't let it out. They're just like, it's got to be me. No problem.
I got a prediction.
What's that?
I don't know if it's going to come true, and I'm not that tied to it. But what if the Black Widow movie shows them in Budapest and how that all, because everyone wants to know what happened in Budapest, right?
That's what it's
They keep talking about that. They've now reinforced Jeremy Renner's character. I keep saying, like, I'm saying the actor, but you know what I'm saying. They reinforced Hawkeye. So he's that much cooler than he was 2 movies ago, right? So why not make this awesome movie now where it shows how they met, what happened in Budapest, because they keep talking about it for a reason. I think that's what's going to happen.
I have a bigger prediction.
Go for it.
She's not dead.
No, I think she's dead.
I think she's dead right now. I think she's coming back.
I don't know.
With Gamora back?
Yeah, but Bruce said, I tried to snap her back. I couldn't get her back.
Yeah, but Gamora didn't snap back. That's not how that one worked. She couldn't snap Gamora back either.
She's a younger Gamora.
Yeah, she's a younger. Yes. She doesn't even know Peter at this point.
Bingo. I think there is a way to get her back. We know that without a doubt.
Well, there's Marvel magic that's going to happen, but I still think that she's dead. Like, finally dead.
Here, the problem with getting her back means giving Thanos a second chance, a third chance. Are they willing to do that? Is the question. Because you will go back in a timeline where he's around again.
I mean, I could see that happening, but it just doesn't seem like that's where they're going anytime soon. Like, I don't think if that's the case, and then you have to also kind of accommodate for age, or account for age rather. I don't think it's going to happen, man, because they have all these other movies that are going to be coming out.
They really do. And look, we have a Nebula and we have a Gamora. I really could have gone without her coming back. She does nothing for me. But anyway.
Gamora?
Yeah, she's such a duddy character to me.
Where'd she go? That's what I want to know.
She's such a, I don't understand her, I don't get it. I'm like, I don't get why people like her as a character. I think she's just like, she's fine. But I think I think Nebula is endlessly fascinating.
She keeps getting better and better.
There's so much that could be done with her. But again, we have Gamora, we have Nebula. We're good, and you're right with Black Widow. But I'm going to miss her, even though I wasn't a big fan. I am going to miss her. I think that scene was very effective. And I think it's going to make an impact on Hawkeye. Because remember, when he comes back, they see it in his face, what happened.
Yeah.
Said, where's Natasha? Or where's Nat? And you see it on his face that, oh, she's gone. But the thing is, again, Captain America holds it together. He understands that there is an ultimate goal, and he focuses on that ultimate goal, G. He's inhuman in this movie. He's not human. He's just like, I have a goal. We have to beat Thanos. And he keeps thinking that if we don't beat him, these people died for nothing. We can't not win now. It's just too much at stake at this point. We have to win. It's so good, dude. how they did that.
Cap is just the man. He's the man.
He is the man, dude. He is just moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Now, here's the thing. When Cap goes back in time, no, we're not going to do that. How did you guys like the Captain America, Tony Stark back in time
Howard
thing?
Stark. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys like that little
that was
throwback?
amazing. That was brilliant.
All these time travel vignettes were so smart, like I was saying before, that they did it without actually making us all confused. And then they come back and we actually, mind you, how many hours are we in now? Like on the movie, Dan or Bucks?
We're just a bit over an hour.
Gee.
3 hours and 1 minute, man.
We've already done, we're almost to a normal film at an hour and a half. And they haven't even like said, now it's going to start revving up. This whole thing is just a going to the top of the hill. It's all it is. For an hour and some change. And we're all on the ride. That's almost an impossibility. But one of the important things about the getting the stones, a very important thing, and Dan, you can kind of go into, or Bucks, something happens with Nebula that's very important.
The old switcheroo.
Yes. That is a huge thing that happens. That you're like, oh, the whole thing was important for that even, just by itself. Not only was it the switcheroo, but it was Thanos understanding, doing the aha. He did that whole thing. And he was like, okay. And it made total sense that when I don't know how I didn't see it coming, the switcheroo. And then it all comes back and it's like, okay, we got all the stones. And in a normal movie, this is the end of the movie. They won. Game, set, match. Now, what I didn't understand is, do you know what she did with her fingers, the new Nebula in the time thing?
Oh yeah, she kind of plugged herself in, didn't she? Like USB fingers.
How does she know how to do that? Like work it.
Well, part of her's, I mean, she's got circuitry in her. I don't know, man. She did an R2.
Like, hey.
Yeah, she did an R2,
I'm
yeah.
totally guessing. But she busted out an R2D2 right there, man. She just plugged in
I didn't know
and
that
fixed
was an
that shit.
R2D2 thing.
Totally an R2D2 move. I actually thought that in the movie.
Get out of here. Did you?
Yeah, because it's would you agree, Johnny?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, that's really
it's just a Star Wars thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that I think that's how she did it. But I just think that whole arc in the movie is just so well played. The switcheroo, older Nebula is left behind, trying to convince the younger Gamora to come with her and all this. And then, this is where we learn that, or Thanos actually learns the plot of what's going on. He's seen his future happen, much like what we were talking about in the beginning. So it's a really important part of it, because if it not for, it's something about those Guardians characters, man. They have a way of fucking up the plot
Isn't
of
it
these
amazing?
movies. Making bad things happen.
Did you notice the fatherhood line going throughout the film? Because remember, Thanos is the father of Gamora and Nebula, which was a big deal. And then Tony being a brand new father to his daughter and leaving them. I was like, oh my gosh. And then at the end, those are the two that are sacrificed.
He also goes back in time and meets his father.
It's just this whole, the whole thing is just like, wow. It's
that was a great scene. When he met his
loved
dad.
that scene.
Yeah.
I love that
awesome.
He's like, my dad used to tell me something. And he's like, oh, what was it? He said, money can buy everything but time. That's how we started saying, gee, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's like, sounds like a smart guy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. But that quote is really good. It's a great quote.
Hey, when they went back to the 70s and they're at the SHIELD base, did you happen to notice when they go into Pym's lab, did you guys see any Easter eggs there?
I didn't.
The original helmet.
The original Ant-Man helmet.
yeah.
Yeah, the Hank Pym Ant-Man
Oh,
helmet.
And how
I was like, oh, nice.
and how awesome did Michael Douglas look again? Aged even less.
Crazy.
Do you
That's
know what I mean?
They're not playing around with their CG.
Their
really
aging
not.
thing's magic. There's something voodoo stuff going on in
It
there.
is absolutely crazy.
So we get our last Stan Lee cameo in this, right? Where he's like, hey, man, make love, not war.
Yeah.
Now, clearly they CG'd him down to make him look younger. I'm wondering, was that in fact Stan Lee? Do we know if he filmed that scene?
I heard that was his last one.
Right.
Okay. I don't know. Both times I saw it, he looked weird. And I know it's the CGI making him look that way, but I didn't know, like, man, was that even him? Did they just do that for the, the continuity and to actually complete this? And they have him in all of the movies. But I was just wondering if you guys think it's him, I'm going to go with that. But I was not entirely sure both times I saw it.
Out of curiosity, do you think that it's weird that this is not really off topic, but kind of. Do you think it's weird that Captain Marvel was a pretty big deal in the commercials, but she really wasn't a factor in this movie too much?
I think she did just enough.
She was oddly absent.
And I think that when she was on screen, I'd be honest with you, I liked her better this time than I liked her in Captain Marvel. That's just me.
Oh, really?
Okay.
And I didn't realize this. I actually read this not too long ago, that was actually filmed before Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay.
They did all that stuff in between. Like they just went right when they started doing, or they finished Infinity War rather, they started filming, excuse me, Endgame, and they had her come in for just a small amount of time and do her parts. And then she filmed the other movie.
I did not know that.
Right.
That's very, very interesting. So,
which makes me kind of wonder that's why she looks different.
Maybe. Yeah.
Not the pixie cut, but I'm talking about even in the trailer.
Yeah.
They just had her looking, it was just a different aesthetic that she had. Director to director, I guess. But I think she was in it just enough. So we're getting ready to go into the third act. I know we kind of just quickly went over the second act, but in regards to, they now have the stones, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to call it a problem with this, but maybe you guys can shed some light on things. So to my understanding, the Infinity Gauntlet was made in that Nidavellir place, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's obviously this massive piece of equipment, whatever you call it, that's made by the gods, essentially, right? Now we have these stones back, and they were able to recreate this with nanotechnology. Did that bug anybody at all?
No, I love nanotech, though.
I
I'm a
didn't
sucker.
think about it.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
I don't know. I mean, it didn't ruin the movie for me. It didn't take me out of it too completely, but I was just like, wow, like they fixed that problem pretty quickly. And I guess so what I'm wondering is the Infinity Gauntlet not that important? Is it simply just something to hold the stones?
I think it's something to hold the stones.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Because they made such a big deal about it in the first place. Thanos went to Nidavellir and had all those people killed and everything, and they forced
Nitri, or whatever his name was.
Thank you, Nitri. Yeah, he forced him to build that for him, and they had a mold that was there and everything still. And then it just seemed kind of weird that I'm not going to like stay on this too long because clearly you guys don't share my opinion, but it seemed a little odd to me that they were like, oh, well, we'll just build one here. But again, small little issue that I had with the movie that did not take away.
In my brain, it's just whatever holds the stones.
Yeah.
That's what's going to have. It's the power of the stones, not what actually holds it. It's just, hey, if the stones are together, you're going to have this power. And Tony made a glove that actually holds them all.
And can change size. Yep.
Cool. Nanotech. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Starked it. He starked it.
He starked it. Exactly like Buck said. Starked it.
So speaking of the snap, the first person to snap in this one's going to be Banner, right?
Yes. I wanted Thor.
For any particular reason other than you just liked the character
god.
And you wanted... Yeah, you didn't see... But there was nothing that you were expecting to happen or you wanted to happen that didn't.
Like, if anyone's going to snap and live, it might be a literal god. Might want to give it to him. Because it almost killed a mad titan. The only thing higher... Well, technically kind of not, but the only thing that might survive it was a god. But then Bruce made a great point. He's like, I literally can withhold gamma rays. So
yeah, he said it was primarily gamma radiation.
I'm fine. It might have killed Thor. Well, to as much as a god can be killed.
Or hurt him a lot more.
Yes. And we see later, Hulk is not recuperated. I don't know when his arm gets back to normal.
If it ever does.
If it ever goes back to normal, we might get one arm, or we might get like a Shuri enforced arm for Hulk or something, which is not out of the realm of possibility.
Not at all.
It could happen, but that snap, was it effective for y'all?
Yeah, because there's that moment of silence. Did it work?
Yes, that's what it was for me.
And it was the birds in the trees.
Yes.
Is that enough birds? Do you know what I mean? You're thinking, okay, that's possibly a good sign.
Yeah. I didn't hear birds.
On the
before.
subject of the birds, were the birds missing the entire time?
Well, we know 50% of life is gone. And so they probably were like, it's more life than we've seen.
Yeah, it wasn't just one bird, was it? It was like there's a bunch of birds there now.
Yeah.
So
And they were singing and whatnot. So I guess that, okay.
to me, it was a hint that maybe it had worked, but it wasn't conclusive evidence. It was kind of like, this is an encouraging sign, possibly. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of, you weren't sure.
Like it's one of those things where you don't know you're missing a sound until the sound comes back. You're like, oh, I didn't know that thing went off. And so he didn't know he was missing the bird sound until he's like, something sounds different.
Yeah.
Because you hadn't heard it for so long. You're like, oh, that's a thing that wasn't there before.
And then just as you start to hope.
Gee, I don't know how they didn't notice Nebula. They didn't know Nebula was gone. Oh, dude, that hit like a ton of bricks. The fact that they all survived that.
And it was silent as well. You're just looking up and it's coming down.
Just boom.
Something else I could say about that scene that I thought was really important and very effective was that right after Scott sees the birds and knows that he thinks that it works, we get the call from Clint's wife on the phone. And the look on his face and the relief on his face and how he picks it up and you can hear her talking to him and everything. And it was just like, everything's right. The snap worked. But we end up finding out that the snap worked, yes, but there's something else that's going to be coming right now that's going to really put water over that fire of happiness right now, because it goes from that to what we're about to talk about right now.
I think someone should have died.
Yeah.
Someone should have died.
I mean, because we have mortals.
Yes, exactly. Hawkeye is normal. Come on.
That was brutal because they blew that shit off of the map and it made it look like the surrounding area made it look like they were on another planet. It was just so much destruction and gray
and everyone survived. I was like, okay. I mean, War Machine should have died, Rocket should have died, and Hawkeye should have died.
Hawkeye should have died.
Those are the three people that should have been. And it would have been effective. We would have been like, oh, but it would have made sense to us. We'd be like, yeah. That would kill somebody. But out of all that destruction, they come walking out? I was like,
they're the Avengers, man.
I mean, War Machine, kind of. I mean, I love Don Cheadle, but he wouldn't have survived that.
Nah. Hey, it's good to see some meat on his bones again, though, right?
Yeah, he's definitely looking healthy.
In comparison to the last time, because he looked sickly in Infinity
We were worried
War.
about him, weren't we? Do you remember?
I was totally worried about him, but he seems good now.
Yeah. And then, I like the fact that Hulk is holding up everything, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah.
I think what made this thing pop for me is the fact that instead of raining more hellfire, Thanos comes out of his ship. And he's asked after a brief conversation, what are you going to do? And he said, I'm just going to sit here and wait.
Yeah. He's like, go get me the stones.
He literally is.
What are you going to do? I'm going to wait.
I want to fight them head up. Whoever comes walking out of that building, I'm going to go ahead and take. Like, he is so confident that I'm going to kill whatever comes out. And apparently for good reason, as we see later. He is so confident that I'm just going to go ahead and then I love how Thor is just sitting there looking at him. Now, mind you, also, how did you like the chase scene between those monsters and Hawkeye?
Oh, I liked it a lot.
Whatever those monsters were, I didn't even know what those monsters were.
Well, were they Chitauri?
Were they the same things that they're fighting on from
I think
Wakanda?
some of them were. Maybe they were just more of that type of a species because we did end up getting the whales again.
They were like the Wakanda things, weren't they? That were busting through the shield.
Yeah, maybe it was maybe those were. They seemed bigger, but.
So can we assume that maybe he was like, go get me the stones, and she sent those things to go get them?
I didn't take that. I think it was just part of the attack. It was just part of the attack, and I also took the go get the stones thing as like more of like the daddy issues kind of thing. Like, okay, great. You brought me here. We've just done this, but you're still Nebula. You're still my daughter. You're going to do the dirty work. I'm going to sit here and wait.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I took it.
I took it as I think they're still alive and I'm going to kill them.
I never saw that as not being part of the plan. I thought it was like one final punk that he could do for her because, they've always had that kind of a relationship.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was corny until he really started letting loose with them explosions. I was like, that was a cool freaking scene. It turned out it was really fun.
ended pretty quickly.
It did.
Like, he handled his business. He didn't really have any outside of being chased. I didn't really feel that he was in any imminent danger or anything like that.
I loved how he turned around real quick to be like, I'm still ready for some. And he had already killed them all. I'm like, this is 5 years later, Hawkeye.
That slash he did behind his back. He didn't even look round, cut it in half. Oh, that last one.
That was 5 years later, Hawkeye. We're messing with a different guy now.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was real good. And also, he has a reason. Natasha died. This has to work.
Yeah.
He's not just fighting for this. He's fighting like, my best friend died. For this moment, he's fighting for a different reason. That was really good. And so we get to, unless you guys have any other moments, we do get to Thor looking at Thanos and then Cap coming behind him and be like, where is he? And he's like, he's just sitting there.
I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Yes. And he's just like, and I know Thor's like, I don't get it. Like, he's not running. And Thanos isn't even paying attention to them. He's like, you guys are not even on my list of things to worry about. Like, he's not in the least bit worried about those guys.
Thanos is like, I'm going to have them stones in just a second.
That's what he's thinking. He's like, I know how this story ends already. I saw it. I know I win. So let's just go through the motions. No.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm inevitable.
Oh, it's such a great quote. I'm inevitable. And so he's talking to them and he's like, I had this all wrong. Oh, what a good speech. He's like, silly me. I should have just killed all y'all. How good is that speech, Dan?
This is what makes him the person that I'm thinking he is, man. As one of the top villains ever, if not the top.
He's not being mean. He's just being like, you know what? I was just
That's what's great about it. He's like, I'm doing this shit without anger. This is what has to happen.
It turns out I was totally
It ain't personal.
Exactly. It's almost like he was sitting there thinking of that. He was on the stoop being like, you know what? I think I made a wrong choice. Because he's like, the one way that you guys don't chop my head off is if you guys don't exist, period. I'm like, you know what? That's fair. He saw the future and he's like, oh, if they're not there, that doesn't happen. I'm like, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. And then when he starts getting up and getting his armor on, I get worried, dog. I'm like, oh no.
That's the equivalent of some dude taking off his shirt.
Oh, for sure. It's the equivalent of a sister taking off her earrings. I'm like, oh, we might want to stop this now or it's about to happen.
Her shoes are off.
Yep, game over.
Be worried.
And that weapon, man. That
weapon. The two-sided blade.
Yeah, what is that, man? I know there's a term for it. Does anyone know the name of that thing? Because it's so
Yes, I do.
Do you have it?
Yeah. Oh, you want to know
it? That would be helpful. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's called Thanos' two-sided blade joint.
Oh,
man, I'm glad that we went there. I think we're all a little better now. Education. The more you know. I see the rainbow right now. I'm all fucking yes, Steve. More than anything in the world.
Of course. How could I forget the TTSBJ, man?
Oh, nice. That was well done and fast.
I'm pretty impressed with that.
I couldn't have done that.
I got a pen and pencil here. I'm fine.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
so Thanos' two-sided blade joint.
Hey, before we go too far down the road, what did we think of Thor's final transformation?
Oh, dude. I don't know what was better, him transforming or Thanos not responding at all to it.
That lightning will braid your beard, though.
It will. And Thanos was like, what do I have for dinner tonight? Like, what am I cooking?
He's like, did I leave the iron on?
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, that lightning reminds me, did I turn off the lights? I don't know. Do you realize he's not worried at all?
Those spiky berries I picked at the beginning of the movie were gooder than a mug. I wish I had one of those right now.
Did you see how they made him purposely not respond to it? He was just like, okay, let's do it. I like lightning. Who does not lightning even worry at all? He's like, yeah, I don't care about this.
I see your white eyes. I'm not tripping.
Yeah, I will see your white eyes and raise you a big purple dude that's a genius that can fight better than all y'all. I'll raise you one. And he can fight better than can we all agree that he is clearly leaps and bounds better than every single one of them? Like,
yeah, I'd say so.
Because
no individual can take him down. It's a group effort.
Yes, and even
remember the job he did on the Hulk in Infinity War, right at the
Cakewalk.
beginning.
Made him make that sound.
Yeah, sit down.
Light work. I mean, because in his brain, he's like, remember, this guy's the Mad Titan. He's destroyed worlds. 3 people aren't a big deal.
He hit Hulk so hard it knocked him out of the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
He also did that to someone else in this very movie.
Oh.
He hit someone so hard, she disappeared for the rest of the fight. That is a punch.
Yeah.
And so when he starts fighting, this is the one, Dan's right. I'm going to watch it so that I could slow down everything that happens in this fight. Because there's thrown hammers where he blocks the hammer, then ducks and hits I was like, so much is, and you notice how they don't make it comically like weird. He is a hulking dude that's moving as fast as a hulking dude can, but all of his moves are so perfect. It's almost like a dance. He just fights. And I'm like, man, this guy is unbeatable, dude. He's unbeatable. He's amazing.
This scene that we're talking about right now sort of just starts the whole thing off.
Yes.
But I knew that we were in for something amazing when Tony tells Thor, hey, hit me. And Thor shoots the lightning at the suit, and then it projects out the front.
Oh, my God, that thing.
And then,
I'm like, you guys are on some next level shit right now. That was fist pumpingly good. Like, I honestly,
that was huge.
I remember I had to like quiet myself down because huge. I didn't want to like piss the person off next to me. But I was so excited.
When Thanos blocks it, though.
Yeah, like it was like nothing, but it was still impressive.
It was impressive, and he's just like, yeah, y'all are gonna. And here's the problem: when that doesn't work, even though they're still fighting him, I know they're thinking, damn, like, we haven't put a scratch on him. He's not bleeding. We have not, he hasn't done the, you know how when Rocky hit Drago and he starts bleeding, and you're like, oh, I can make him bleed. They haven't done that yet. They haven't been like, oh, I can make him hurt. Not yet. And I'm like, oh, this is so rough, dude. I don't like this at all. This is supposed to go another way. Because in my brain, they start fighting him for the second time and destroy him. I mean, destroy him. And it didn't work that time. Because even remember before they fought, Thor says, let's kill him properly this time.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't do it.
Oh, you know what he did do, though?
What?
Do you guys remember when he pitched Mjolnir to himself and hit it with fucking Stormbreaker? That was insane.
Yeah.
Gee.
So
all
insane,
these moves are so good that they should have done something. All these moves.
And it ends up starting something here that I'm going to go ahead and put it out there right now. I know I'm making bold statements on this one. And again, I'm completely fueled off Endgame right now. But I think that this might be one of the greatest battles on screen ever. Yes. It was amazing.
One of, for sure. One of.
It was like Infinity War was like, check this out. And Endgame was like, no, hold up. Check this out. Yeah. It was just, I mean, I literally got chills right now thinking about how good this battle was and everything that goes down in this. And just so many key moments that come into play in this one here, man. So this is where my tears really started to flow. And they were just tears of joy.
Yes.
Straight up joy. And I'm not even saying that to be cliche. You hear it all the time on podcasts or, interviews or whatever. Oh, and I cried. No, I fucking teared up and tears were rolling during this part. And it was just pure joy because I'm seeing this amazing thing that was just conceptualized in some room come to life, and it's just beautiful, more beautiful than I could even imagine.
Here's the thing. I think we're all going to say the same thing. Thor is getting beaten up to a pulp, and all of a sudden, you see the hammer. And mind you, in the comic, just a side note, in the comic, the hammer can act on its own. So that's what I'm thinking it's doing. And I think they could have. Right. Wouldn't that have been cool though? If the hammer was like, I am now sentient and starts just doing its own thing. I was like, oh, they're doing that.
Teams up in a buddy movie with Doctor Strange's cape.
Come on. So freaking good. But how long? Okay. estimating, I know you could be watching it. Dan, how long was Thanos actually beating up on them before the hammer thing happens? It was a minute, right?
I would say it was a good 7 to 8 minutes.
Gee, that is a beating. You are taking a beating, dude, from him.
And that's just movie time.
That's just
that's who knows how long it was really going on for, but I would say that what we saw was probably 7 to 8
and
minutes.
not bleeding yet. He's like, this is light work. Y'all still aren't, and this isn't one at a time. They're all trying to get at Thanos at the same time, and this is the time where we realize he's not just dangerous for Hulk. He's dangerous for everyone. At the same time, he loves this thing. Because remember when when Hulk was beating him up and the guy was like, let him have his fun?
Yeah.
This was fun for him. This is what he likes to do. And we see more of that a little bit later. Dan, because this is more important to you, Dan. It is important to me, but it's more important to you. Would you like to go ahead and narrate us into the most jaw-dropping part of this movie?
Yeah, you caught me fist pumping on that one, didn't you? I think you said something about that. Yeah, man, that scene was great because we have Thor and we have Thanos and they're going at it. And this is the part where he catches Stormbreaker midair, Thanos does, and kind of does a reversal on Thor, and he's pushing the axe into his chest. And you could see it starting to penetrate. And I was getting a little bit worried right there because, this is... I sort of thought Thor was going to be gone. And suddenly you see Mjolnir come flying through the air and then do like a reverse. Goes into reverse, flies past both of them, and who catches it? In probably my favorite scene of the entire movie, the look that Cap has when that lands into his hand was just... ready. And instantly tears start flowing down my face again, man. It was just... I've always liked Cap. Always. Oh, dude. But I liked him best in this movie. Man. I mean, outside of say Winter Soldier, where that was purely his, this was just him being Cap at his best. I had no idea that was going to happen, although they did kind of allude to it in Ultron when they're all having that little party and they're all trying to pick it up and it kind of moves when he does it. So when he picks this thing up and Thor's like, I knew it. I was like, yes, I did too, so Thor. Good. I fucking did too.
And then he went, wham!
Bruh.
And I went,
he catches air.
He starts flipping it. And I was like, he's even doing the lightning. I said, oh my. And this is my fault from this is how they're going to beat Thanos. Literally immediately. I'm like, it's over. Game over. Game over. That's what I thought.
Cap does so much amazing shit in that minute of time right there.
Dude.
He's working with
Mjolnir.
I'm almost here crying over here. He's working with Mjolnir, and he also has his shield, which he throws at him, and then he throws the fucking Mjolnir at the shield. Clang! I mean, that is so much more of a visual, and I know that the people that are listening have seen this, but you know what I'm talking about. There's nothing cooler on screen, man.
One of the best things ever.
And here's the part where the Mad Titan lets his emotions come in. He gets frustrated. He gets frustrated, and you see how it shows. He's like, I am sick and tired of this man.
Yeah.
You see him? How he starts getting, you never see him mad. You just see him real chill. This time he was like, I am done, as he's hitting him with y'all. I'm done. Will you die already? And as he's doing it, I know Dan was thinking, oh my God. This is how he dies.
But it was also, to be honest, it was one of those things where they've surprised me this much so far that I'm not going to try and fill in the blanks. I'm just going to see what's happening. Yes. But what's happening on the screen is making my fucking jaw drop.
I was like, here's where this was my only third tier. This is the third one. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I'm getting chills now. When the whole army is behind Thanos.
Best shot of the film.
And Captain America's looking at
that wide shot.
And Captain is looking in the sky.
Oh, that's just such a breathtaking shot.
And he slowly gets up and he puts the broken shield around his arm and cinches it. And he's like, if it's you and your army against me, baby, let's rock. And the next scene, my son said people stood and applauded, is when Black Panther comes out of that thing. They said...
First you get on your left.
I think I know. Go ahead, Johnny. I know what you're going to say.
You hear Sam.
Yes.
Captain,
on your left.
He was like talking
Yes.
to him.
Yeah.
On your left.
And then my son was like, people stood up, and when the thing came out, they were like, oh, snap. And they said when they saw Black Panther walk in, people clapped. And I was like, they're also clapping because they know if he's there, Wakanda's exactly. He's like, and probably Wakanda. And I was like, oh yeah, Wakanda has an army. And everybody else is coming. And I'm like, but slowly all these, but for me, the part, I love Black Panther and that hit me hard, but not as hard as that broken shield. That is the scene of the movie for me.
So symbolic.
It broke I was like, I want to be him. Where he's like, he straps on the shield like it actually is something still. It means
like it's going to do anything.
It means something. Yeah. The little star that's cracked means something. I'm Captain freaking America. And he gets up. Oh my God, that messed me up. And he was ready.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
All those multiple portals open up and everyone starts walking through. I mean, I'm just, literally tears just streaming down my face. I'm so excited.
And it was so fitting that the first person to have his back is Black Panther. Because remember when he's like, I know somewhere we can go. And Cap went to Wakanda. And I was like, it makes sense that he had his back before. He's the first one to have his back this time. Same with Sam, though. Sam, too. But I was like, this is so important, these things that are happening. And I love that, like, when the fact that Steve Rogers was going to fight anyway. But here's the thing that got me. When he saw all those people, Thanos smiled. He's like, now it's a fight.
Yeah, now we got a party.
God, come on, G. He loves this. It's not a thing that he's scared. He's like, yes, this is what I like doing.
Now it's not boring.
Now it's not boring anymore. The Russo brothers could have made him look scared. But they're like, that's not Thanos. He loves war. He loves it. And here's the thing. That's when I knew, head up, there is no beating Thanos. Fist for fist, pound for pound, you're not beating him. You have to outthink Thanos. That's it. He's built for this. But I didn't think about it at that time. I just was like, oh no, he's smiling. But that doesn't matter because they'll just beat the smile off of his face. I was wrong. I was totally wrong.
You're better than me, man, because coming out of that movie the first time we saw it together, when we walked out, we didn't really have a lot of time to talk about it. And I don't really know what I could have said. Like, what I'm getting at is you had all these thoughts that were already processed. I was so in awe of what was going on the screen. I knew that I was going to have to watch it again to even do this fucking podcast because there was so much going on I had to process.
Yes. I tried to process this after the movie was over. I kind of was just like, all right, let me try to put these wrinkles into my brain real quick of what I just saw. And now I never have to do that. I can just walk out and remember stuff. This one, it hit me again. It's not fair. I might have to watch it again because everything after Cap strapping on that shield, I just couldn't digest it because it was just that part was so deep for me. And I don't know why. I don't think they meant it to be that deep. But when he took that broken shield, dude, and strapped it, then I don't care who all comes. It's great that everybody came. The fact that he was willing to do it by himself, the battle's over for me then, right then.
You've always had that special emotion for Cap, it seems like, is particularly in Infinity War.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Not really. I mean, after all, he does have America's ass.
You know what? You're right. You're totally right. And the funny thing is, I would think I would have this feeling for other characters automatically. But for this one, it was like how much he believed from the beginning. There was no part, like if I would have paused the thing and said, hey, Cap, did you believe that you'd be here fighting? He would be like, yeah, I believe that this time was always going to come, that I'd always see my friends again. I never doubted it. I believe he'd say that. Be like, yeah, I knew they'd come. I knew I'd see them again because he just has endless hope. And so when he was just like, I'm going to strap on this shield, he wasn't strapping on the shield to die. He was strapping on the shield because like, I will fight until I can't fight anymore. That's just, what character is this? Like, who is this guy? Who is this
There's
guy?
a reason he leads the Avengers, man.
He's the guy that dived on the grenade.
He is the guy that dives on the grenade.
You know?
God damn it, I'm going to miss Chris Evans.
He's been amazing.
Like, it makes me want to give him a standing ovation because everything that happens after this, the Shield, even if Sam is not the greatest Captain America, the thing is, Chris Evans put so much into that Shield that someone else can be infected by that amazingness. That's it. Because it represents something. You don't have to do great. That Shield represents something now because of Chris Evans and what he did with the character. And a lot of it, what the Russo brothers put on to, they made it deeper than it used to be. They really did a great job. And I just fell in love with this character. And when everybody comes and they started fighting, I did get choked up when, and two other parts, when the women were like, we got this. Oh God. I said the Russo brothers came for blood. They came for blood.
I may have an unpopular opinion on that.
Go for it.
I thought it was cool, but I'm going to be honest with you. And I felt a little better about it once my daughter mentioned it, but to me, it felt a little shoehorned. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That scene.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. I think
It's
it
a
like I didn't need to, I understand where
much.
they're coming from.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. I get it. You know, and women are strong too. And just, I get all of that, but it just felt like it was shoehorned in.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be there.
Totally worked for me. Maybe I'm a
That's
sucker.
cool. And to each their own. I'm just saying.
Totally worked for me.
And I said that I was walking out of the theater and I said that to Gail. I said, and I said exactly that. I said, it just felt like it was like kind of shoehorned. I don't know what it was about it. It didn't rub me the wrong way. I thought it looked really cool. I appreciate what they were doing. It just didn't feel right to me for some reason. And Gail feels like you did. She's like, oh no, I thought that was awesome. And I remember when we watched it together, all of us, she was just like, yeah, she like threw her fist up in the air about it. And I completely get that 100%. But then my daughter's like, you know what? I got to agree with you. I didn't really feel it was necessary to have that. And it kind of made me feel a little bit better because I was feeling like a bit of a misogynist at that moment in time. But I don't know. And I'm glad that Johnny agrees a little bit too.
I've heard other people say that. I've heard other people say the same thing.
I think it was just maybe one or two characters too many, where they were all getting together. The reason it felt a little bit overdone was because like I say, there's maybe two or three characters that joined that group more than they needed to make that point.
It was like saying something important that you could just say with your normal voice, but they decided to use a really loud megaphone.
Yeah.
Like we get it, but you don't have to yell it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that thing, I don't want to like focus on that too much. It was just something that I'm glad that Steve brought it up because it was something that I wanted to see if anyone else felt that way. Okay. But anyway, that's all. Steve's like, okay, asshole.
No. I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
You insensitive prick.
I am not saying anything. I'm saying it worked for me. It didn't work for them. That's okay though. Everyone has an okay. It got me. It got me in my feels. It was good to see those ladies coming out and fighting and all that stuff. Like, yes. So I got suckered in by it. So, and then the other part that touched me was when Spider-Man came out doing his Spider-Man thing to Tony. Like, I'm like, he's right back to normal. He's right back to Spider-Man. Oh my gosh. And then there was this and Tony just,
Mr. Stark.
Oh, and Tony just looking at him being like, I missed this. And it used to annoy the hell out of me. And
that's the part that got me, Steve, is because he just like mid-sentence just like hugged him, just squeezed him like, oh my God, I missed you.
He's like, this is nice.
Yeah.
And it was so adorable. And I don't know how I didn't see it then. How didn't I see it right then? I should have. I'm like, oh.
That's a combination that I'm going to really miss seeing on screen.
Yeah, I should have seen it. Oh, he's going to go. I should have seen it then. But and then later on, as the battle's going on, mind you, they make an allusion to them winning, but then when they pull out, you see there's a lot of Thanos' army left. Like it's an endless field of things.
Yeah, they're still kind of evenly matched.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, either this fight scene is going to be 4 hours long. I wasn't thinking this then, mind you. I thought this after the fact. I was like, yeah, the fight scene would have had to be 4 hours long for it to continue till they were one last person. And it kept on going. And I loved how did you like Valkyrie? Her little thing that she was doing.
Oh, I liked it. She was on, I know it's not a Pegasus, but it looked like a Pegasus.
Yeah, that's straight out of the comic.
You know, actually, there's only one Pegasus. That's the name of a horse that flies.
But it's the same beast,
It's
if
a
you will,
beast in the form of what the named horse Pegasus is. I don't know what they call it. They call it something else for the movie. It's got a name, and I forgot what the name was. I was hoping Dan knew.
Before we hit that moment, there's something that we're missing that's super important.
Oh, I can't wait.
And this is where you saw me get super emotional, Steve. It's when Steve Rogers stares him down. Everyone's behind him, and he just says, Avengers, assemble. I know you lost my shit right there. It was
Finally.
Oh my God.
Finally.
More, again, just the waterworks coming out of my eyes. It was such a beautiful scene.
I was already, for me, yeah. There it is. Yeah. Your Avengers Assemble is my strapping on the shield. Getting up, spitting out, he didn't spit out blood, but in my brain he did. and strapping it. And he also cinched a massive wound in his arm when he strapped on the shield. Oh! But anyway, yeah, the Avengers Assemble was like, oh, that's dope. That's dope.
And it was like the Russos paying us back for all this time that we've waited to hear it in the first place.
Yes.
So many payoffs in this movie.
It's amazing. The game plan was so perfect. But this game plan had to start with Joss Whedon because he purposely didn't put it in the Avengers either. It was a long game. It's just genius.
Makes me kind of wonder if maybe they didn't know exactly what pardon the expression, Endgame was going to be, but I wonder if they were purposely saving that, knowing that they would put it in eventually.
Oh, for sure.
Because it was very effective, man, and people were like there were arms going up, there were fists in the air for that part. Yes. Like it hit the mark. It stuck the landing.
It was great. Look, this whole battle, we can go on for 3 hours. Everything that was happening, I loved how they were trying to get the glove away. Everybody took turns taking it. He's like, Black Panther, give it to me. Give it to
that bit with Panther, man, when he did his thing.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't even know the hitting the ground thing. I was like, what's that?
So much better than in his own movie.
Gee,
and he was just jamming. So much better.
Oh, bro. He is a problem. And so then all of a sudden he gets gripped by this wizard's hand, and I was like, uh-oh. And then comes Spidey. Bruh, Spider-Man did such a good job. I missed him. Remember when he came out of when everybody was coming out of the little portals, and then he flies to the front of the screen and lands?
Yeah. Another shout out moment.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just, and then when it was good seeing Doctor Strange, don't get me wrong. But I realized, he's my least favorite, turns out. Because everybody that was walking out, I was like, yeah. He walked out. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And so
he's a huge player in this, though.
Exactly. But there hasn't been enough put into his character yet for me to care. Just not yet. I loved when apparently Scarlet Witch is stronger than we thought. Didn't know that she could
Scarlet Witch.
Well, she's also pissed.
True.
Scarlet Witch in the comics is the most powerful of the Avengers, pretty much.
I did not know that.
She's super mega powerful.
So she
changed the whole universe at one point. There was a whole.
Oh, okay. So you weren't shocked by her almost killing him.
They were essentially giving her the credit she deserves.
Yeah. She's super powerful.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, oh, she's about to kill. And then he's like, rain fire. I was like, I wonder what that means. And I found out.
It also, again, proves that he's just so vicious because he didn't even care at this point anymore.
If he died, he didn't
care about any of his crew.
Or him.
As long as Thanos stayed alive, he was fine with it. He just wanted everyone to die.
Totally, dude. And it was an effective thing to do. But even after that, he had a grip of people, G. I was like, how many people did he bring? He brought a grip. First of all, first of all, y'all talk about the battle because I'm already in my brain at the end, but y'all aren't. So what other things caught your brain in the battle?
I think that Scott Lang needs some credit here, man, because he did some cool shit in this one. When he turned into Giant Man and socks that whale.
Yeah,
That was like, oh,
that was great.
it's gotta be bad. And then he also, not only did he do that, but he saved Hulk and he saved Hawkeye in that part by growing the way he did.
That's true.
Super cool. Another thing I really appreciated in this one is when Tony looks at Doctor Strange and he's like, you said there was 14 million outcomes and one outcome that's only the good one for us. Is this the one? He tells him, if I tell you, it won't happen. Super important.
And
then eventually when what happens, he looks at Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange does nothing, but it just puts the one finger up. Like, this is it. This is your moment, man.
Homie.
So important. So effective.
Now the part after that, I am confused by.
Such as?
How he got the jewels or the stones. I have no clue.
What about you, Johnny? Is there any favorite parts you want to talk about or anything that we
I love when
missed?
Captain Marvel was trying to break his fingers.
Yeah, he was trying to split those bad boys apart, huh?
Yeah.
And he just
She
pops
showed
off
him.
It pops off, was it the Power Stone, and just bam.
Boom. Punches are off the battle. We do not see her
I thought that was kind of
anymore.
cool how he could take out an individual stone and make something happen
that
for,
was smart thinking.
to make it work
And
for
mind
him.
you, did you
And
notice
the way
how he
she
took
brought
out,
the ship down as well,
Yes.
that was spectacular.
Did you notice how he took out the stone and it fused into his other hand?
Yes.
So that's why I'm like, any glove will work. All it takes is the stones. Then the stones will find their way into the glove. So that's why I was like, yeah, you could just fit it in any glove. And he punched the hell out of her, G. Like, I'm like, she's recovering for the battle. For the whole battle, she's shaking that off. And I was like, okay, but it was dope that you see how he tried to headbutt her and she didn't even flinch.
Captain Marvel, who's you referring to, right?
Yeah, he tried to headbutt her. And it was like headbutting a wall. She didn't even move, dude.
Oh, she looked at him like, that's all you got?
All you got. He's like, as a matter of fact, no, I do have a bit more. Would you like to see? I'm glad you asked. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, he might end up. And that's when we saw, everybody sees he's about to do this thing. And then Tony looks at Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange looks at him and said, this is the one. God. Oh, it's heartbreaking.
And right when he did that, I'm like, oh no.
Yep.
I know now. I know what I've been wanting to know for a year. I just found out what it's going to be.
And then when he runs over there and he starts grabbing on it frantically, I'm like, I don't think that was the plan. And then he just pushes him away. And he's like, I am inevitable. And then what does Tony say, Dan?
I will tell you that in just a second. But to answer your question, Steve, or your what you didn't understand about that part, I'm thinking that he used some of that because he was wrestling with the glove, right?
Yes.
Or struggling with it, probably a better way of saying it. I think the nanotechnology was what individually picked those stones out.
True, but how does he make the nano know that it's supposed to pick up something out of another? I'm like, wait, how does that work?
Stocked it.
Well, I mean, he can think about what he needs it to do and it does it, right?
So that means if Thanos was like, I want to keep it, it should have stayed with him.
I don't know. I mean, I think you're not the only person that I've heard say that.
I didn't know. I was like, how did he get the things out of the glove? If both of them are, I want to keep it, so do I, the nanotech doesn't move.
I don't know. I haven't heard anybody say anything solid about that yet, where it was just like, oh, okay, that makes all the sense in the world. And it might just be one of those things that you just have to.
That's what I did. I was like, I don't care. I don't mind if a ghost came from another region, pulled them out and gave them to Tony. I don't care. All I know is that he got it. And those next two, he's like, I'm inevitable. And he snapped and nothing happened. Tell me how weak that didn't make. It literally was him just snapping into air. It made him look so weak. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, he just kind of had a look on his face.
Tony said,
I am Iron Man. And I just lost it again.
Do you remember the
snap?
Do you remember the last time he said that?
Yeah. The very last part of very last scene in Iron Man.
All around.
And then later on, we see Jon Favreau with his dog. Anyway, we're not going there yet.
Yeah.
Almost there. Almost there, Steve.
Oh, that did mess me up.
Woo! It almost messed me up. I was like, I see what they're doing. He's like, yeah, I created this. Favreau anyway. Everybody starts fading away. I thought Thanos wouldn't fade away, G. because it took him a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, maybe he's gonna have to sit there and just see all of his people fading, and then be surrounded by this group of monstrosities of Avengers and superheroes. But he just sat there like, so this happened, huh?
I wonder if that means anything, because if you'll recall, when Peter Parker went, he was like everyone was ghosting around him, and he was the one that he had like a bit of a narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel good, Mr. Stark. He falls down. There's this dramatic moment. So it was about the same amount of screen time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're trying to. I don't know what that means exactly. If it was just for the purpose of dramatics or what. But I did think about that. It's like, okay, well, Peter Parker took a long time to die. Why is it taking him so long too? But they're two different people. Yes. They're obviously not the same. They're not equals. So I don't really know what that means, or if it was just for cinematic
Another
purposes.
thing I don't understand, which is perfectly fine because this is just magic. I guess you can somehow think about who you want to disappear.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Because you have it's the reality stone, if I'm not mistaken.
But that means you have to think about...
Or the mind stone? I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but one of those is giving you the power to kind of... It serves your whatever purpose you need it to serve.
Exactly.
That's where the Infinity Gauntlet comes into play. That's where all the stones working together come into play, is that you can now do whatever you want. You are the most powerful being in the universe.
I mean...
That's how I took it.
You are, but you're not so much, because remember, he couldn't snap Natalie back. So it's like, okay, there's some people you can snap. And then did Thanos have to be like 50% of human beings? They're gone. And did Tony have to be like, only this evil bunch, and think of each one of the evil bunch? I'm like, wait, how does that work?
I kind of think, and Johnny, let me know what you think about this. I kind of think, again, that I think it's whatever you want it to do. In my head, it was just like Thanos just did like a randomizer. I need 50% gone, make it so. I don't care who it is, just make it so. Whereas, for instance, when the Hulk snapped, he knew that he wanted to bring back all the people that were gone, plus he wanted to go for Nat, which didn't work. The second part of that is that I think it's because the reason that she didn't come back is because you need to have a soul for a soul to get that stone.
Right.
Okay.
That's why she didn't come back. And that's why Gamora that's back isn't the same Gamora. It's the younger version, because you can't get back Gamora after she's been sacrificed for the Soul Stone.
That makes sense.
But what about with Tony? He just says only Thanos's people in Thanos.
It was just like, kill these bad guys.
It's like,
take everyone off this field that shouldn't be here
like
right now.
Here's
a wish off a genie. Do you know what I mean? It can be whatever you want it to be, because all those stones working together basically control everything.
Yeah, I guess. Which I didn't even. I was like, I'm perfectly fine with either one. I think when he did it, I was like, oh, so you could like control whoever you want to be gone. My thing is, like, I thought, and I'm glad they didn't do it because it would have been corny. But I was like, if you don't snap away a grip of people, it should hurt you less. Like, if it's going to hurt me if I snap away 1 billion, and it's going to hurt me if I snap away 1,000, I'm like, I would think that the 1,000 would hurt less. But if they would have done that, I would have thought it was corny. So I'm glad they made it. No, if you snap away one person, it kills you.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Because you're using it regardless. And
exactly.
What did you think about, did you like the way Thanos went, or would you have rather him been like, no?
Yeah, I liked it.
No, I liked it.
I thought it was very introspective.
That's exactly the word I was just about to say. I think he was just sitting there being introspective and being like, well, I guess this is it. I tried, but
maybe I could have done something different. What could I have done differently?
Yeah. Did I leave that iron on? Still thinking about that. And then
I wonder if I could beat them as dust. Probably. And then he's gone. How did you like Tony's death scene? Not like. Let me change that.
I hated it, but
really
loved
well
it.
Done. Beautifully well done. I mean, again, you've got, Tom Holland just breaking your heart, just like he did at the end of the last one. With his, Mr. Stark. Oh, God, man, I was in tears. And then Pepper.
How bad? Oh, Pepper.
In the rescue uniform, by the way.
What she said to him as well.
Oh, that was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking. Man. Like,
She says, "We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
You can go.
You can rest now.
Yeah.
You can rest. Thank you, Steve.
God.
And then tell me how dope it was that the first person to come over and put their hand on his cheek was War Machine.
Yeah.
He's like, you gave me my legs back, dude. You sacrificed.
You gave me this life.
You gave me this life. And he's the first one. That's not an accident. He's the one over there knowing you're gonna die. It's over. And he just touches his cheek and it's just like, oh.
They put the right three people in front of him that should be there.
They're best friends.
Yeah.
Had to be those
And
three.
the dope thing is Pepper moved Spidey out of the way.
Yeah.
It's like he needs to see me. The last thing he needs to see is me. And for her to be like, we're going to be okay. You can rest now. As in, you've been tormented your whole life. Now everything's fine. Get some rest.
Then you see that arc reactor power down underneath her hand.
And for once, Stark didn't have anything to say.
Nope.
You know, I
just went.
like
Oh, he
the
was
fact
spent.
that they didn't give him anything to say
Some
there.
quick,
Yeah.
quirky. Yeah. It was
Brilliant.
perfection. And the thing is, he ended dying, and the movie began with him on the verge of death. It's just, I mean, they're just geniuses, dude.
They pulled off something that I don't think anyone was expecting.
No,
them.
dude.
They just did such a fantastic job with this, wrapping it up.
No, I mean, what did you think in like the funeral? When you got to see them say, look at who we have. Look at all these people we've brought into your family household.
Yeah.
All of them. And man.
Yeah, it was this like really sad roll call.
Yes. And everyone was there for Tony. From Shuri. I mean, Shuri was there. Like everyone was there.
Janet Van Dyne.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer's looking
Everyone.
incredible.
And then, Nick Fury at the end comes in the background.
And then you get the Favreau and Morgan thing. That broke me.
Was heartbreaking.
I'll buy you all the cheeseburgers.
Oh, I will buy you all the cheese.
Your dad liked cheeseburgers. Because that was in the first film as well, wasn't it? When he came back. Yeah,
that was in the first one too, when he first came back.
Oh.
And the dope thing was, like, Favreau's kind of giving you I started all this. I started the rolling of the dice. Now, mind you, Guillermo del Toro could be, or David Goyer and them could be in this movie too, because of Blade from years back. But in this MCU, there was only one person that took the shot, and it was Favreau. A shot that nobody wanted to take. And he took it and was a producer for all the other films.
And that was the movie that really everything was banking on. If that movie would have failed, we would not be having this conversation right now.
No freaking question at all. Everything changed.
And Iron Man was such a C-list Marvel character.
Yes. And I love how they put on the wreath, here lies proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Do you remember what that's from?
No.
I believe it was Iron Man 2, and his first reactor didn't work anymore. It wasn't doing what he needed it to do. So he took that one out, and he threw it away and put the new one, and he had Pepper put that one in. And she was all afraid to do it because she thought she was going to kill him by putting that thing in. So he gives the other one to her. It says he like discards it, and she takes it back and she has it plaqued or has it like encased in glass, and she gives it to him as a gift.
You know how effective this movie was for me? It's so effective that I probably won't watch Iron Man again.
Oh, I'm going back and watching all 22.
I can't do it.
I'm on a marathon.
I can't watch
I'm
Captain
doing
America anymore either. Like, I'm heartbroken.
No.
Next few shows, be like, Dan, what you been watching? Okay, so I'm on Thor.
I'll watch Thor. I have no problem with all those. It's just Cap and Tony, I can't do it for a while.
This one makes me want to go back and watch Iron Man 3 because I've only seen that movie one time in versus all the other ones, and I kind of forgot about it. There's a lot that I've forgotten about
really
this movie.
Good. I mean, he starts dropped in the middle of nowhere. It's really good. Gee.
And this is where we get Rescue, the first appearance of Rescue, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I'd completely forgotten about her. And when she showed up, I'm like, oh shit, I just completely, like she was just completely out of my memory. So it was nice to see her show up as Rescue.
As we wrapping it up, are there any things in the closing scenes that really stood out to either one of you guys?
I have a question. Do you guys know who the gentleman in the back was? The boy in the back with the dark hair? They showed everyone at the funeral.
But I have to look it up.
You do now. Did you get that, Johnny?
I was going to ask you guys.
That character is Harley Keener, played by Ty Simpkins. He's the kid in Iron Man 3.
Oh, right.
kaboom, right? Kind of blows the mind a little bit.
I think that was pointless.
Wow.
I'm a hater.
Well, I actually heard why that's that way. And I have to give credit where credit's due. This one came, I was just started listening to Pop Culture Leftovers, their take on this. And I listened to maybe like the first 5-10 minutes or something. What happened was all of those people were there because that day they shot, thank you, Brian, by the way, for giving me this little bit of information. They shot, it was like a Marvel reunion photo shoot.
Okay.
Oh.
So they filmed that the same day. I'm sure they went, hey guys, come over. Let's just do this real quick. I'm thinking that's what it was. I don't think it was any kind of like particular callback, like they're going to use him later for another Iron Man or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, but they lingered on him too long.
I was like, who is that?
I don't think they should have done that.
I think they lingered on him too because it's like, well, just like Johnny's saying, who the hell is that? They got at least somebody knew who it was. I had to look it up.
No, true, but I'm saying unless it's pointing to something, which it isn't, it's just like, oh, remember him?
It kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
Because then I was thinking, who's that?
I would have rather that time spent on people we know.
Yeah.
Why is he even there? How did he even hear about it?
Well, who knows, man? Maybe because they were close in that. They bonded in that movie. I do remember that. I
understand it.
So maybe they just stayed in communication throughout the years.
Maybe.
Yeah, I understand it, but it was weird to see all these wonderful characters. Like you say, it was like a roll call of all the people that we've seen with these strangers there. And I was like,
who the crap is that? It took
me out.
Yeah,
and I was like, still didn't get it.
I don't know if it took me out, but it definitely had me going, okay, who? That was the first thing I thought when I walked out of the movie was, who the hell was that? So I had to look it up.
I wouldn't have wanted that to even be in my mind. I would have been like, I wanted that to be the, because everyone that was anyone was in that crowd. And I thought that was so important. Now, again, at the end, anything that stood out for you guys, like any end scenes after the funeral scene?
Well, there's the Cap stuff, obviously.
That was a beautiful ending.
That was incredible.
There is a part after the funeral where Hawkeye's sitting next to the river, the lake. Does anything happen then? That's important.
That's the scene where he's talking to Scarlet Witch.
Yes. Does anything happen?
And he's just telling her, he's like, I really wish I could have, there's a way that I could let her know.
They both know.
That we won. Yeah. And then that's when she goes, she knows. They both know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And they're talking about Gamora and Scarlet, right?
That's the thing about Gamora. She just kind of dipped out all of a sudden. Like because Quill went up and said, I missed you. And he touched her face and then she kicked him in the nuts. Nebula comes up and she's like, this is the guy? Yeah, that's the one. It was either him or the tree, talking about Groot. And then she's just gone. Yeah. So I don't know what's up, but I did notice that when Thor joins the Guardians on the ship.
Oh yeah.
They're having that kind of like a tug of war thing back and forth with the map.
Brilliant.
They're right before they do that. And I didn't notice it the first time, but they do show Gamora on there and it says missing or searching or something like that. So that's probably going to be part of the arc of Guardians 3 is finding Gamora and how they get back together. Yeah. So I really thought that was promising. And I love the scene between Quill and Thor because they still have that rivalry. Yeah, even though Thor's like, oh yeah, you're in charge. But he's like looking at him like, bullshit, you're in charge.
And again, it went on that little bit too long again, didn't it? Do you know what I mean? There was
so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that's good stuff, though. I like that.
Here's what they did was genius. He's like, we all know who, they're laughing. You all know who the king is. And Thor shoots him a very serious stare. And then he's like, it's you. I'm like, dude, his comedic timing is so good because he could, it was a perfect situation. For me, again, though, I loved what I didn't know now, but now I know. I loved seeing Cap in the suit for the last time. I didn't know it was the last time then, but gosh, how didn't I know? But when how did you go? What do you guys think that he did? Why did he take the hammer back, in your opinion?
Oh, what, when he went back to drop all the stones off?
Yeah, why do you think he took the hammer?
I'm not really sure, man.
That's gone when he comes back.
I think I was so fixated on his mission of what he had to do and what he was going to do that I kind of didn't really think about that. So is there anything, are we missing something that's like right in front of our face?
I don't, because they focused on it once. He gets up there, picks it up, comes back without it.
Well, he doesn't come back.
Yes, he does. He comes back as an old man.
Oh, I meant as the current
but
Cap.
It's gone. I would have thought he would have given it to Thor while he went up to the with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a really good point, Steve.
So
I don't know, man. I'm going to be thinking about that now.
I mean, in my wildest dreams, he's fighting throughout the wonderful dreams of 70 years with the hammer. In my brain, he's kicking Nazi butt, a bunch of slave traders he's destroying. He's doing it all. And that's what I think happened.
But it seems to me, and that's great. That sounds actually pretty awesome. I'll go with it.
That's my brain.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Because honestly, I don't know how the hell I missed that on Two Views and didn't even bring that up. But I don't know, man. I think that him going back, I think he was done. I think he did what he had to do. He put all the stones back in place. But I don't see him going back, finding Peggy, and then continuing to be Cap.
I know, but in my brain, he's beating people up.
No, it's fantastic. I love it.
But it's not true at all.
I know. I want to see him hit a Nazi in the head.
I
with
would
Mjolnir.
love
That'd be
it.
dope.
But I think here's the funny part. When he said, keep everything together until I get back.
Until I get back, right.
I should have been like, right then I should have been like, oh, wait, he's just pretty much saying, hey, I'm not doing this again.
He tells Bucky, he says, don't do anything stupid until I get back. He's
So-
like, that's impossible because you're taking all the stupid with you.
That was so funny.
Oh, that was a great line.
And literally, he did know. He's like, oh, no, I'm either going to be back in 2 seconds or I'm going to be back in 2 seconds because you're going to see me regardless. And sure enough, he was at that bench. Why?
It doesn't answer your question, Steve. I'm sorry, but it doesn't answer your question. But maybe he took Mjolnir back because it was kind of gifted to him by Thor, right?
Yes.
So maybe he took it back with intentions of just like, that's my hammer. If I need this, if shit goes crazy when I'm trying to put these things back, I'll use it.
I hope that's
But now he's back and he's like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. I think I'm just gonna. Because they said that he blew past his, I forgot what the words was, but he blew past his entry point to get back to where it was supposed to be. They saw that.
That's true.
So I'm thinking he just decided at the last minute, you know what? Screw this. I'm going back. I'm going to get my last dance.
Or
and spend the rest of my life with the woman I love.
What if
which
he
is
goes
beautiful.
back in time and he's no longer worthy of picking it up?
Maybe.
Or if he brings it, who could take it to Thor? He brings it and leaves it next to that bench. Who could take it?
Maybe it's just a brilliant setup for Phase 4 that we don't even know what's going to happen yet.
Also, there's a whole movie that could be shown what happens in the 70 years ago up until there's like a movie there. I want to know what he was doing, how many folks he killed, how many Nazis he slaughtered. I want to hear that. But I think is there a reason, Dan or Bucks, that you think Bucky let Sam go talk to him?
Was wondering that.
He said, you go. I think Bucky couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. I can't see my friend like that. Sam could. Because he only met him recently.
Yeah, but they were so much stronger than that, though. Like, their relationship was so much stronger. Maybe just out of love, he didn't want to see his
boy for years.
His best friend, who's also freaking Captain America, this frail man now that doesn't even, who knows? It didn't look like he was even I didn't realize he could age like that.
That's amazing.
So, but then again, he's also been transported in time and preserved, so that maybe he was just aging in the, currently.
Yes.
I don't know. But I was thinking more along the lines of, it almost seemed like he knew that he was what he was going to do. I think he saw the shield and just, it's not for me. I don't know. I was thinking about that. I'm not entirely sure.
I did love how he walked up. Any one of me, if I was directing the film, I'd make it like lip quivering. Immediately, Sam just smiles. I was like, oh, he's happy for him. He's like, you lived your life, man. Like he is, you see how happy he is for him? He's like, oh, that's what everyone wanted for him, dog. That's what everyone wanted for him.
That scene right there, Steve, I was watching it. And then when it happened, I looked over at you and I went, Steve's my Falcon.
Will you stop it?
He's my fucking Falcon, man.
I would, you know what? Would you give me the shield?
Hell no, I'm not going to give you
You're
the
a cold
shield.
cat.
I'm selling it on eBay.
You're a cool cat. You know, here's a great quote that he did. He said, I am going to try my best. And he said, that's why I gave it to you.
Yep.
He didn't want him to be perfect. He said, I know that even if someone does it better than you, they're not trying their best. You, on the other hand, will. That is so, that's Captain America. That's Captain America. I know you'll do your best. And then when he said, you want to tell me about Peg?
No, I don't think I will.
How touching.
I just thought it was great.
Oh, it's such a he said, "This is mine."
Yeah.
Oh,
I've shared all this other stuff with you. This is mine. This is what I've always wanted.
Oh.
From the moment I woke up, this is what I wanted.
I'm not ready for this movie.
And it really solidified things. We kind of skipped over in Act 2, but it really solidified that when he goes back in time and he sees Peggy. Yeah.
That's when he made the decision.
That was the key moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he knows what he's got to do.
It's so interesting in this day of social media, this day of going to concerts and all you see are phones, these days where you go and you see a star and instead of asking for an autograph, you take pictures, how he said, that memory's mine. If we just started doing that, instead of going to see my whoever you want to see, Elton John, and taking a photo and just being like, you know what, instead of taking photos, this is mine. You guys can have it.
Well, he's older and wiser.
And I need to start doing that. It really hit me, where it's like, you know what? If I meet a star, I'm not going to take a picture with them. I'm just going to shake their hand and be like, this memory is mine. This is all mine. You can't have it.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Well, Paul McCartney, just calm down. Just calm.
Johnny's like, you're crazy.
I'm still mad at you.
No, to be fair, that was Paul's idea, not mine.
Was it, Bucks? What, did you walk up and be like, hi, I'm Johnny Bucks?
You know what? And he's probably telling the truth right there, too.
No, he did. We didn't ask him. He just said,
I believe you.
He goes, do you want a photo? We were like, yeah, all right then.
Here's how it happened.
Photo.
Bucks walked in and Paul McCartney was like, hi, I'm Paul McCartney. And Bucks is like, okay, since you asked, sure, let's do this. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What's happening right now?
Johnny had his Hulk moment with the selfie.
Dude. Oh, Bucks, I am so mad at you right now again. All over again. How? Anyway, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we'll save it for another show.
Oh, we will. Our music show, because I'm going to be upset at you all over again because you got to hug the man that wrote Lovely Rita. I am so mad at you. Unbelievable. But the end credit scene, do you know that actually does mean something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you talking about the very end
Yeah,
thing?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I did my reading when I went home. Seriously, I stared at my phone for probably 3 hours after watching that because I was just so blown away at what I was trying to. I listened to podcasts. I watched YouTube videos and theory videos and all that kind of stuff.
I only got theories. I didn't get the truth. I don't know. Only got theories.
Well, what did you hear?
I heard that it was the sound from the Iron Man movie.
Yep, that's what it is.
Is it true though? Do we know?
That's what I've heard.
Okay. I mean,
I wish I had the article in front of me, but I'm pretty sure Marvel came out and said that yes, that's just sort of an homage to Tony. You got a beginning all the way to the end.
And you know, I'm lying. I did tear up again. I teared up when all the silhouettes were coming up to forefront.
Oh yeah, especially when Tony came on.
Oh my! And at the end, it's tough. But let me tell you something. You know who had the best on the lowdown, the best silhouette?
Who's that?
Freaking Hawkeye. His thing was crazy. I said, yo, if that was the dude, I am watching the movie. Everyone else had a decent silhouette, but Hawkeye's was like from the back and he's looking to his side. I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope. I loved them all though. When they showed Cap, that's when I teared up again. Tony, I didn't tear up. But Cap.
Yeah, Tony got me, man. I just wasn't ready for it. And more importantly, we now live in a world where there will be no more Tony Stark as we know it.
Not at all. Yeah, it's true.
You know, the Marvel universe is changing and we're not going to ever have that again. Like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, this is so monumental, so important, and it's never been done by anything.
Never.
When Star Wars Episode 9 finishes, I'm sure I'm going to be thrilled, but it won't be like this. They didn't do what Marvel did.
No.
They did not pull that feat off. And it's just so important, man. I think we're lucky to live in a time like when we're older and people ask us something like that, what was the most cinematic feat you've seen, the most ridiculous thing you've seen done? This is always going to be it for me because I don't know who's going to top it unless, like you said, Steve, it's Marvel again.
That's the only people that can do it. And I loved like the last scene in my brain is the equivalent of you've just seen the most amazing opera you've ever seen in your life. the lights go down and they start bringing each actor one by one so that you could give them the standing ovation that they deserve. And at the end, Tony comes out. It's just like, oh, that's how you end a movie. But that's not how you end a movie. That's how you end a story that's gone on for 11 years, saying, thank you guys for joining us. These are our characters. And look, even though the characters are technically going to be still in the movies, they're signing off because Thor isn't that Thor anymore. Hawkeye isn't that Hawkeye anymore. Those are the last of those people we will see because they are not them anymore. That is incredible. That is incredible. So even if we do see them again, we won't see them again. God, what a movie.
Yeah, man. I salute them.
Salute, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Marvel. That's all I can say.
Gosh.
Thank you so much, Russo brothers.
Thank you. I will say thank you also. Thank you very much.
The genius overlord, Kevin Feige.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for bringing that up because that's really the man we should be thanking.
Who put this whole thing together.
Also, Jon Favreau. A man we should be thanking.
Chance taker.
He is the fact that you have both y'all picture taking brothers. You got a picture with him.
I don't like to brag that I got a picture with Johnny Fab, says I call him.
You're the worst.
We're tight now. I'm like, hey man, I got an idea for a movie.
I got a picture with
Let me pitch this to you real quick. And he was like, maybe Iron Man. I'll think about it. And I don't like to take a lot of credit is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. I mean, you probably were like a Man of Iron. And he's like, I'll think about that.
I'm like, hear me out, dog. I got this all the way. I have a vision that will take full form in 2019 if you just hear me out for a second. He listened. So you're welcome.
Good job. And people,
you know what this means, though, Steve. It means you're going to get a Stevie picture one day.
Don't mess with me, Johnny.
No, it's
we need to make that happen.
Everything's got to balance out, right?
Easy, Thanos.
Here's the problem. I only want pictures. Well, now that Prince is gone, I only want pictures with Stevie and McCartney. That is it. That's
pretty good at Photoshop, dude.
Stop it, man.
I'm just trying to help.
Man. I want a picture with, and not only that, but I want a picture like this. Here's what I see. Me, first of all, posing with Stevie. Fine. And then I also want Paul McCartney next to me. I'm singing something. He's in shock and someone catches the picture.
Wow, that's not too specific. Sounds pretty simple, Steve. We can make that happen. Hey, real quick before we go, I know it's time to get going here, but any idea what this movie made this weekend? You guys have any idea?
I'm going to go 1.2 billion.
I think you read that, Steve, but that was you're not fooling me, buddy.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's what I did.
Fucking Harlequin, you. Yeah, man, 1.2 billion in the first 5 days. Which you know what I'm about to ask you right now.
No.
Will Avengers Endgame beat Avatar?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I'm thinking yes.
I hope so. It's so much.
And if it doesn't, it's going to be super close.
It's going to be close, but it's front loaded. That's what happened.
You know, we've talked, and then it's going to have a drop off eventually.
Yes.
But we've already talked about on the last show the factors that made that movie so big and how there's China's really a big part of that.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. No, I think it has the power to take it. I really do.
How many people that saw it this weekend are going to go and see it again?
Maybe a few.
I'm going to my third viewing tomorrow.
Yeah, quite a few of them, I would suggest.
But I would say that for me, in my opinion, I think that even though it will get close, I think so many people went up front and everyone saw it up front. Whereas Avatar didn't necessarily have a target market. Like, even though billions of people, tons of people are going to go see Avengers, it's still targeted to people that have seen the other movies, which are a lot. But with Avatar, there was no target market. It was just, you don't have to ever have seen any other movie except this one. Come in cold. And it just had legs. Remember, they brought it back months later. Because it just had legs and legs and legs, dude. I don't think that that's going to be the case for this one.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a strong debate from me because everything you're saying is totally true. I'm just saying that I think that it could do it.
It better.
And
in my opinion,
if my
it should.
numbers are correct, I think it's already halfway there.
The thing is, I think it should beat it. Like, if it does beat it, I have faith in the world. Because this movie did something that no one, when that hammer went into Steve Rogers' hand. Give me a movie that did that.
That's what I'm getting at.
I want it to win. I just don't think that it has the legs that, honestly, in that year, James Cameron his pulse was on the world. And he knew
there is also one thing that goes with that, is that when that movie came out, there wasn't anything that grand.
Nothing.
Visually that had been out yet.
It was
so
3D.
You have a lot of people that are really going for the spectacle of it.
First big 3D. And the 3D was good. The 3D was legit.
Yeah, I think I saw it in 3D.
It was so good, dude. It was so good. But again, I want this to win because I just believe that it means something. I want my son to look at Captain America and be like, that is a person that people should be like. Yeah, you're right. He sees injustice and attacks that injustice, even if it's him against the world. What more would you want?
That's what we need.
That's what we need right now. We need someone to be like, there's no way you'll win. And it's like, but if I beat him, I'll do it by myself. I don't need you guys then. I can beat him alone. That's the attitude we read. And it just, dude, why, Cap? Why did you go?
Love's a bitch, man.
We'd killed Tony. We didn't need to. Anyway.
Love is a bitch, Steven. I'm sorry. It's
true. You know what? Hold up. He shouldn't have left for that reason. But we'll talk about that next time.
Maybe I got Game of Thrones on my brain right now, but it's the things we do for love.
You know what? You're right. All right. Anyway, I know it's 3:30 in the wonderful Kent. You know? Come on.
This has been fun, guys.
It has.
Thanks so much for playing along.
I want to get Bucks on a music podcast. Because that could go on for 18 hours too.
Yeah.
Because did you see the video of him playing the Rio bass line, Dan?
Of course I did.
I don't know if you did.
I'm very impressed.
No, I'm depressed. I am depressed because I'm like, I'm not practicing today. There's no point.
Come on, man.
There's no point. Forget it. I'll practice tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm 30 years down the road, man.
I was going to say, he's got 30 years on you, Steve. Don't feel bad.
That doesn't matter. When you're learning an instrument, I don't care if somebody has years on you. You're just like, I cannot close to do that.
No, I can totally relate.
I sent Bucks this riff I got, and I worked like for hours on it. And Bucks was like, well done. I'm like, I made my day. And then he sends Rio.
Never sent me a riff. That's all.
Because you're not going to point that out. It's such a silly riff.
Hey, you both got a live performance earlier, so you know.
I did.
That doesn't happen often.
I appreciate that, especially.
And we got a phone book reading that these people won't hear.
Darn it! All right. Anyway, people, thank you for sitting with us. The next voice you're going to hear is not only Dan the Man, but Johnny Bucks. I love y'all. Thanks for sitting through this amazing podcast. I'm out.
Before I go any further, I want to give Johnny a chance to plug himself. Not plug yourself, because that would be kind of freaky on the show. Hey, Johnny, why don't you go plug yourself? No, hey, Johnny, seriously, tell these people where they can find you, man.
Well, I'm out and about in a couple of bands in the UK. Groovesyband.com for all your party needs. And majestic-12.uk for all your lovely acoustic shenanigans. But yeah. That's my main things. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm a huge fan, as you know.
All right, Johnny, man, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Always good talking to you.
Yeah, nice one. Thanks, guys.
People, my name is Dan Ramirez. You have been listening to episode 66 of the Heroes of Noise, the Avengers Endgame special. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. I know there's just so much more we can talk about, but there's only so many hours in the day. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I love you 3,000. Do you hear what I'm saying? 3,000. Thanks for listening to the show. Be good to yourselves. Be good to the people around you. Avengers Assemble. All that good stuff. Peace.